And tune in to Cliff Hughes Online from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. as we broadcast from the Community Electrification Project in Mineral Heights, Clarendon on Friday, May 9. Backed by $1 billion Jamaican dollars. This bold initiative, led by the Jamaica Social Investment Fund and the Jamaica Public Service, offers free house wiring, electrical certification, and prepaid meters to vulnerable households. Plus, a bonus $4,000 credit to kickstart your connection. It's safe, legal, and empowering. Say goodbye to risky, illegal hookups. Light up your life with opportunity. Powered by Progress, powered by Community. So tune in to Cliff Hughes Online, Friday, May 9 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's the Community Electrification Project. Catch the live stream on Nationwide 90 FM's YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the Jamaica Social Investment Fund.
Ready to tackle that building project? Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for building supplies. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
Learn about smart betting strategies with AnyBet. Bet wisely, enjoy responsibly, and maximize your success. The temperature by AnyBet is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston and Montego Bay.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robian Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, the IMF has again heaped praise on Jamaica's economy.
But the opposition leader Mark Golding says economic growth has remained stagnant.
We have, of course, many accomplishments of which we must be proud. However, we have not seen our economy take off. In fact, our economy is relatively stagnant.
JFJ is calling for clear timelines for the procurement of 1,000 additional body-worn cameras for the police.
Almost $5 billion in upgrades planned for the University Hospital of the West Indies.
A wildcat that escaped in Black River is still on the loose.
In news from the rest of the world, Grenada plans to remove the death penalty as punishment for criminal offenses.
Donald Trump has welcomed the election of the first American Pope.
In headline sports, Jamaica in must-win scramble to get into West Indies T20 Blaze Women's Cricket Final in St. Vincent.
And later in our broadcast, in our cover story at 5:35, Habemus Papam, we have a Pope. Robert Prevost, now Pope Leo XIV, has become the first American Pope in history. We'll hear from the Archbishop of Kingston, Kenneth Richards, and a youth leader from the Archdiocese of Kingston, John Luke Foster.
In Public Opinion at 6:26, we ask, what's your reaction to the ocelot on the loose in Black River, St. Elizabeth? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90 FM.
In the nation's business at 6:40, the Wholehearted Car Services Company in Ferry Pen, St. Catherine, was recently ordered to suspend operations until the immigration status of its Chinese employees could be verified. The Labour Minister, Pernell Charles Jr., will join us with an update.
And at 8, it's Jamaican Dads with Dennis Brooks, Garth Williams, Marlon Campbell, and Floyd Green.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile. Nationwide 90 FM, Nationwide Radio, JM.com, and on the Nationwide app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Thursday afternoon, it's Thursday, May 8, 2025.
News at 5 is brought to you by the Crispy Barbecue Zinger from KFC. Back for a limited time with the flavor that makes everything crunch. KFC, it's finger licking good.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
And now to the details. The International Monetary Fund is again showering Jamaica with praise for its fiscal progress. This follows its latest Article 4 consultation, which took place between April 30 and May 7. The consultation was carried out by a team led by the Deputy Division Chief in the IMF's Fiscal Affairs Department. Siobhan Campbell tells us more.
Jamaica does not currently maintain a borrowing arrangement with the International Monetary Fund, IMF, but the country still maintains a precautionary standby facility in case of a major economic shock.
Additionally, the IMF regularly carries out Article 4 consultations with all member countries. As part of its latest assessment, the fund says over the last decade, Jamaica has successfully reduced its public debt, firmly anchored inflation and inflation expectations, and strengthened its external position. The multilateral says the country has built an enviable track record of investing in institutions and prioritizing macroeconomic stability. It says Jamaica has met recent global shocks and natural disasters in a manner that is agile, prudent, and supportive of growth. The fund says GDP declined in the last fiscal year due to Hurricane Beryl and Tropical Storm Raphael, which damaged agriculture and infrastructure and undermined tourism. Nonetheless, the IMF says economic activity is projected to normalize as these effects wane. It highlights that unemployment has fallen to an all-time low level at 3.7% in January 2025, and inflation has converged to the Bank of Jamaica's target band of 4 to 6%. The IMF says the outlook points to growth settling at its potential rate once the recovery is complete, and with inflation stabilizing at the BOJ's target range. However, the fund warns that global developments require continued close monitoring. The multilateral says the Jamaican authorities continue to implement sound macroeconomic policies, aided by robust policy frameworks. It says the current fiscal monetary policy mix places Jamaica in a good position to respond to the various downside risks should they be realized. Siobhan Campbell, for Nationwide News.
Opposition leader Mark Golding is arguing that despite the much-touted macroeconomic gains, growth has remained stagnant. The scathing remark comes amid a report from the International Monetary Fund praising the country's economic progress over the last decade. But speaking at a PNP forum in St. Anne on Wednesday, Golding maintained that economic growth has been virtually non-existent.
We have, of course, many accomplishments of which we must be proud. Perhaps the biggest one is the sustainability of our public finances. However, we have many challenges that are holding us back. And we have not seen, despite those improvements in the public debt, we have not seen our economy take off. In fact, our economy is relatively stagnant. The rate of growth, which we have seen over the last 10 years, has really been minuscule. We have never even achieved 3% growth in a single year. And in several years, we've had rates of growth less than 1%, and last year we had negative growth.
The Andrew Holness administration has touted its macroeconomic milestones as a main driver in the development of the country. It has also received commendations from international agencies highlighting growing global confidence in Jamaica's economic management. In addition to the IMF report, a recent article from the World Bank pointed to Jamaica as a model amid rising global economic volatility. The Holness government has also secured positive credit ratings from 3 other major agencies, Fitch, Standard & Poor's, and Moody's Investors Service. But Mr. Golding says in comparison to our regional counterparts, Jamaica is underperforming.
How is it that we have stronger financial base as a country? We have good reserves. We have managed to bring unemployment down according to the official statistics. Inflation is relatively low and so on. Yet we can't produce growth. And the lack of growth means that the wealth per capita of our people, the wealth, if you share it among our whole population, our wealth is around $7,000 US per year. And this is way less than peers in the Caribbean region. I'm not even looking at Cayman and Bermuda and those countries. Looking at countries like Trinidad, Guyana, Barbados, Antigua, St. Lucia, we are 2, 3, 4 times less well off than they are. And this is unacceptable because our situation is not that different to theirs.
Mark Golding, opposition leader.
Meanwhile, Mr. Golding has vowed that his PNP government, or rather PNP government he would lead, will build a stronger economy.
We see it in many different aspects of life. We see it in the poor transportation system. We see it in the public health system being underfunded and under-resourced. We see it in the public education system not getting the necessary investments to transition from low performance to high performance. So we have to build a strong economy, and the People's National Party is absolutely dedicated to proper fiscal management, but also to looking at what we can do from a strategic perspective to increase the productivity of our nation nation, make our people better able to take on the jobs of the 21st century and grow wealth in the country.
Mark Golding, the PNP president.
An early morning police operation on Thursday led to the successful rescue of a teacher and the fatal shooting of 2 of her abductors in Jerusalem Mountain in Grange Hill, Westmoreland. The incident reportedly unfolded around 6 a.m. Sources say the teacher was driving her motor car when she was ambushed by 3 armed men who blocked the road with a log, forcing her to stop. She was taken from her vehicle, blindfolded, and transported to a house in Pell River, Hanover. Members of the security forces reportedly launched a coordinated rescue operation. During the operation, a gunfight ensued between the police and the alleged abductors. 2 of the suspects were fatally shot in the alleged exchange, and the police say 2 illegal guns were recovered at the scene. The teacher was safely rescued. Despite the success of the rescue, 2 suspects managed to escape. Both are now the subjects of a police manhunt. Sources say the abduction was allegedly ordered by an incarcerated member of the Kings Valley Gang based in Westmoreland. The police have since intensified their investigations into the involvement of the gang and are urging anyone with information on the whereabouts of the fugitives to contact the nearest police station or Crime Stop at 311.
Human rights lobby group Jamaicans for Justice, JFJ, is calling for clear timelines for the procurement of 1,000 additional body-worn cameras for the police. JFJ made the call following a recent meeting with Police Commissioner Dr. Kevin Blake. While describing the meeting as warm and cordial, the human rights group says it wants concrete commitments on the matter of the additional cameras. Mahiri Stewart has more in this report.
Following their April 29 protest for police accountability, JFJ was called in for a meeting with the country's police commissioner. Both Dr. Kevin Blake and JFJ's executive director, Michael Jackson, have described the meeting in glowing terms. But Ms. Jackson wants some firm assurances from the police. In a statement on Thursday, Jackson welcomed the updates on the police efforts to procure 1,000 additional body-worn cameras and build out the infrastructure necessary to store the recorded data. She described it as a critical step. Ms. Jackson says the human rights lobby group was advised that 1,000 cameras are nearing the end of the procurement cycle, with plans to purchase an additional 3,000 over the next 3 years. According to the JFJ boss, while the organization welcomes the financial commitment to purchase the cameras, she's urging the police to provide a clear timeline as to when the 1,000 cameras will be delivered. Ms. Jackson pointed out that the promise of the 1,000 cameras made by the Minister of National Security, Dr. Horace Chang, has been repeated over 2 consecutive sectoral debate presentations from 2022-23 to 2023-24. She says subsequent assurances have also been given by the Prime Minister. JFJ says the proof of the commitment will come from the results. Jackson has questioned why none of the 750 body-worn cameras now in use were referenced in the 189 fatal police shootings recorded in 2024. The issue of body-worn cameras has been a topical one in recent times. The police watchdog Indicom says 115 Jamaicans have been killed since the start of the year by the security forces. That's a more than 140% increase over the same period last year. Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says a multi-ministerial approach is being taken to address the fraudulent use of demonstration plates on motor vehicles. Demonstration plates, which are blue in color, are attached to unlicensed vehicles usually owned by dealers that allow them to be moved from one location to another.
Security team, National Security Council examined the problem. It has wide implications, and it is one that is used to not only commit crimes, but in fact to a source of money laundering in the country. And in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Transport, and the investigative skill about the police and MOCA, we are looking at a way to resolve the matter, and it will be resolved pretty soon.
Dr. Horace Chang, National Security Minister. He was speaking at Wednesday's post-cabinet media briefing. Transport Minister Darrell Vaz has stated that the government will be cracking down on demonstration plates. There have been 2 recent crashes, one deadly, involving vehicles with blue plates. The latest incident occurred on Winston Jones Highway in Manchester on Tuesday afternoon. The police say the crash involved a red Mercedes-Benz GLE driven by a man who identified himself as a Car-Mart dealer. He was arrested after he eluded 2 traffic stops before crashing into 2 vehicles in Manchester Tuesday afternoon. That crash comes just over a month after a fatal collision along the P.J. Patterson Highway involving a Mercedes-Benz with a demonstration plate. That crash left 4 persons dead, including an 8-year-old boy. Police are still investigating the deadly crash, which took place in the early hours of Sunday, March 30. No charges have been laid to date.
You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
Celebrate 26 years with IQ Optical. Enjoy 26% off your prescription eyewear and sunglasses this month only. Book your appointment or take your prescription to IQ Optical in New Kingston, Manor Park, or Drexel. Conditions apply. The time by IQ Optical is...
It's 15 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rentokil Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rentokil is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston and Montego Bay.
Delicious meals, poolside cocktails, right on the beach. Disconnect from your daily worries and reconnect with the one you love. There's no paradise like home. This summer, enjoy a romantic all-inclusive escape at Couples Tower Isle, Couples Sans Souci, Couples Negril, or Couples Swept Away from $295 USD per night. Take advantage of this offer today by visiting Couples Resorts at couples.com. Conditions apply.
Continuing the news. An almost $5 billion upgrade is planned for the University Hospital of the West Indies, UHWI. This is to address the severe overcrowding due to the increase in cases of non-communicable diseases, NCDs. The Ministry of Health and Wellness announced the move in a statement on Thursday. Dana Davy reports.
It says chronic NCDs such as diabetes, hypertension, and heart and kidney conditions continue to burden the country's healthcare system. This has led to severe overcrowding at major hospitals, including the UHWI and Kingston Public Hospital. In response to the crisis, the Ministry of Health says it is exploring a partnership with St. Joseph's Hospital to alleviate pressure on emergency departments and improve service delivery. During a tour of the UHWI on Monday, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton highlighted the urgent need to address overcrowding, particularly in the accident and emergency department. The UHWI currently admits between 120 and 150 emergency patients daily. This, coupled with internal medicine cases, creates a significant strain on resources. To tackle these ongoing issues, the government has earmarked almost $5 billion for a major redevelopment of UHWI. The plan includes the construction of a 6-story facility and the addition of 40 surgical beds. The upgrades are part of a broader secondary care reform initiative aimed at expanding hospital facilities, improving services, and increasing the number of healthcare personnel. The project will be rolled out in phases and is expected to significantly enhance the quality and efficiency of hospital services once completed. Dana Davy for Nationwide News.
Principal of St. Andrew Prep School, Dr. Carol Blanchard, says the school has been given the green light to resume classes on Friday after this morning's bomb threat. Speaking with Nationwide News, Dr. Blanchard says the students were evacuated to the neighboring St. Andrew High for girls.
We must also thank St. Andrew High School because part of our plan to make sure that the children were not compromised in any way, we had to use their compound to exit. So there's a gate on our field that we allow the children to exit from. The area was swept, all the classrooms were visited, the bomb squad and everybody did their routine check, and so we are clear to enter the building tomorrow, all being well.
Personnel from the Jamaica Fire Brigade and Jamaica Constabulary Force were on the scene at the school located on Cecilia Avenue near Halfway Tree following the threat. Dr. Blanchard says the school followed the necessary protocol after receiving the threat via email on Thursday morning.
The school got an email and we just had to take the necessary precautions to make sure that we alert the parents, we alert our board, we make sure that the persons who are dealing with bomb threats are made aware, the police, the fire department, and those were called in immediately. In addition to that, our staff knows what the response is to take them to the assembly area. We have a very, very effective communication system, and so those were utilized quickly.
Dr. Carl Blanchard, principal of St. Andrew Prep.
Authorities are still searching for an ocelot that escaped in Black River, St. Elizabeth on Wednesday. This follows an attempted smuggling operation intercepted off Jamaica's south coast. Head of the St. Elizabeth Police, Superintendent Coleridge Minto, confirmed that a joint operation was carried out by the police and the Jamaica Defence Force JDF at the wharf and surrounding areas where the animal escaped. Despite the efforts, the medium-sized spotted wildcat remains at large. The JDF says the ocelot was among several exotic animals found aboard a vessel it intercepted. The ocelot reportedly escaped its containment area during processing at the port in Black River. The incident has raised alarm about the possible rise in the trafficking of exotic animals into Jamaica. Chairman of Jake's Hotel in St. Elizabeth, Jason Hansel, expressed concern over what he described as a troubling development.
We know that this has happened on several occasions. This particular one happens to be what could be a dangerous animal. So there is concern. I have been in touch with the High Command of the police in the parish, and there is active search going on between themselves and the JDF and NEPA. Whenever there's a market for something, the market is going to respond. And what I can't understand in my own mind is why is there such a desire to buy these exotic animals? We really need to try and put an end to the continual smuggling of these animals into the south coast. I just hope that we have the laws, or are going to amend the laws, that are going to come down extremely hard on things like this, so that the perpetrators will think twice about doing it again.
Jason Hensel, chairman of Jake's Hotel in St. Elizabeth. If the animal is seen, persons should call the JDF at 876-926-8121, NEPA at 876-754-7540, or the JCF at 119.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
The government of Grenada is planning to remove the death penalty as punishment for criminal offences. This was disclosed by Crown Counsel in the Office of the Attorney General, Ray Thomas. She made the remarks at Grenada's Universal Periodic Review, UPR, in Geneva. Thomas said before a final decision is made, the public will provide suggestions and recommendations as part of the consultative process. Grenada is one of 14 states being reviewed by the UPR working group. Thomas told the UPR working group that removal of the death penalty is the government's intention. However, she did not provide a timeline for the process. According to Thomas, the last hanging occurred in Grenada in 1978, and there have been no state executions since that time. She says the Privy Council has ruled the death penalty in Grenada as constitutional. Thomas says, as a result, there has been a moratorium since the last state execution.
U.S. President Donald Trump has called the election of the first American Pope, Leo XIV, a great honor for the country. White smoke billowed from the chimney of the Sistine Chapel on Thursday, signaling the election of the 267th Pope. Pope Leo's given name is Robert Francis Prevost. He was born in Chicago and attended university outside Philadelphia before becoming a missionary in Peru. The United States has the fourth largest number of Catholics. President Trump says he looks forward to meeting the newly elected Pope. He's among the many American political figures applauding the historic appointment of the 69-year-old native from Chicago to lead the Catholic Church. House Speaker Mike Johnson congratulated Pope Leo and wrote on social media that may God bless the first American papacy in these historic days. The U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, a Catholic, also extended his congratulations.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, the IMF has again heaped praise on Jamaica's economy.
But opposition leader Mark Golding says economic growth has remained stagnant.
JFJ is calling for clear timelines for the procurement of 1,000 additional body-worn cameras for the police.
Almost $5 billion in upgrades planned for the University Hospital of the West Indies.
A woman was rescued today from an abduction attempt. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Roby Ann Williams.
And you can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app, available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
News at 5 was brought to you by the Crispy Barbecue Zinger from KFC. Back for a limited time with the flavor that makes everything crunch. KFC, it's finger licking good.
KFC is back with the Crispy Barbecue Zinger. So delicious, this one is a winner. Spicy with bacon, onions, cheddar, and the smoky barbecue sauce.
The Crispy Barbecue Zinger from KFC is back. A delicious spicy zinger with bacon, cheddar cheese, crispy onions, and smoky barbecue sauce. Available for a limited time. The craving that makes everything crunch. KFC's Crispy Barbecue Zinger. It's finger licking good.
The Crispy Barbecue Zinger from KFC with the smoky barbecue sauce.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. In just over a little over half an hour from now, Tivoli Gardens and Montego Bay United will take to the field at Sabina Park to contest the first leg quarterfinal of the Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League. It will be the second meeting between the teams in 5 days, where Tivoli came away 2-1 winners to secure the last playoff spot, and in the process topped Mobay United, getting one of the two automatic semi-final spots. However, Montego Bay United will go into the game with a psychological advantage, having beaten Tivoli in 2 of their 3 meetings so far this season. The second game of the doubleheader at 8:30 p.m. will feature champions Cavalier against Portmore United. Cavalier beat Portmore United in 2 of their 3 meetings this season, with the other ending in a draw. However, Portmore United, while they have the league's second best defense, conceding 25 goals in their 39 games, bettered only by the 21 conceded by Mount Pleasant Academy. Defending champions Jamaica and unbeaten Guyana will square off in a massive showdown at Arnoldvale in St. Vincent in a game that could determine the 2 finalists in the Cricket West Indies T20 Blaze competition on Friday. The game, which is set to bowl off at 1:30 p.m. Jamaica time, will pit first place Guyana on 33 points and already into the final, facing Jamaica, who are currently second in the standings on 23 points. However, the Jamaicans will be displaced by game time, since the third place team, the Leeward Islands, on 21 points, will face fourth place Trinidad and Tobago on 20 points in a game that bowls off at 9 a.m. Irrespective of the outcome in the 9 o'clock game, Jamaica will then have to beat Guyana to make certain of a place in Saturday's final. The Windward Islands, in 5th place on 19 points, are still in with an outside chance of making the final, and will know what is required, if any, when they bowl off against the winless Barbados in the late game at 6 p.m. The Windward Islands Infernos and the Leeward Islands of Thunder will meet in Friday's West Indies Breakout T20 League playoff at the Brian Lara Stadium. The winner of the game will join Trinidad and Tobago Legions in the final on Saturday. Captain of the Infernos, Alec Athenes, says playing against the Thunder in their final preliminary round match highlighted some of their weaknesses that they intend to take advantage of.
The game we played yesterday gave us a bit of information. A lot of the times you sit down and you plan against oppositions, but not all the time you get to play against them twice. So we got a bit of information, which will be key, to play against them, obviously. So that is good for us.
That's Alec Athanaze. Meanwhile, Thunder captain Karima Gore says tomorrow's game will be like a final before the actual final.
We look at what we did well for the tournament. We haven't had a 50. We had, a few 30s and 40s. So it's just for the batters to go on and get a big score, and take charge of what the bowlers have done very well. At this time now, all we have to do is motivate the guys, give them courage, give them belief in themselves, and, best team takes off.
That's Karima Gore. Trinidad and Tobago Legion topped the standings with 31 points to advance straight to the final. The Pakistan Super League is considering postponing the remainder of its season amid the ongoing tensions between Pakistan and India. The PSL is looking at all options, including halting the tournament for a number of weeks, moving it to a single city or outside the country. Pakistan says that 31 people have been killed and 57 injured by airstrikes in the country, and Pakistan administered Kashmir since Wednesday morning as India responds to a deadly militant attack on Indian tourists in Kashmir last month. Players at the PSL took part in an emergency meeting held by tournament organizers on Thursday. Thursday's match between Peshawar Salmi and Karachi Kings, due to be held in Rawalpindi, was postponed after Pakistan's military said Indian drones were destroyed in various Pakistan cities. A Pakistan Cricket Board official said one drone misfired and led to an explosion in the street behind the stadium in Rawalpindi. PSL organizers remain keen for the tournament, which has 8 fixtures outstanding to be completed, but the safety of the players remain the priority. Former West Indies captain Jason Holder, who plays for Islamabad United, is among a number of high-profile players who have signed up for the league. And finally, in sports at this time, the Spanish Town Primary School team won the InSports Devon Biscuits Primary School's Central Championships and walked away with $350,000 at the GC Foster College on Wednesday. It was their second title in the last 3 years as they amassed 355.5 points. They finished 41.5 points ahead of the dethroned champions Nagohead on 314. Nagohead are still the All-Ireland champions, but will have their hands full holding on to that title as well. They collected $250,000 for their efforts. Former champions Greater Portmore once again finished the third with 176 points, and they bagged $200,000. St. John's Primary finished the fourth with 127 points, and Ascot Primary completed the top 5 with 123 points. Nagohead's Gabrielle Marshall was the overall MVP with 24 points. She won 4 gold, capturing the Class 2 girls 200 and 300 meters amongst them. She was also a member of the winning 4x100 and 4x200 meters team. Karen Buckham of Spanish Town was the boys' MVP with 21 points, following wins in the Class 2 200 meters and 4x100 meters, while finishing second in the 100 and was third in the 4x200 meters open. Tevon Daly of Nagohead was the field event MVP, capturing the high and long jump open for 16 points. That's sports. We're going to be back with more at 6:05.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Win with love this Mother's Day. Use your JMMB Money Transfer prepaid Visa card between April 21 to May 30, 2025 for a chance to win one of 3 $15,000 Fontana gift certificates, plus cash back from paying toll and shopping with your card. But that's not all. Participate in this promotion and enter to win your share of a $2 million grand prize in the Win with Love promotion, ending on June 31, 2025. Receive money anytime, 24/7, using Visa Direct through MoneyGram, Zoom, or Remitly, or directly with Ria and Zoom. Visit jm.jmmb.com/money-transfer for full details on how to enter and win. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming, and Lotteries Act. Conditions apply.
Delicious meals, poolside cocktails, right on the beach. Disconnect from your daily worries and reconnect with the one you love. There's no paradise like home. This summer, enjoy a romantic all-inclusive escape at Couples Tower Isle, Couples Sanssouci, Couples Negril, or Couples Swept Away from $295 USD per night. Take advantage of this offer today by visiting Couples Resorts at couples.com. Conditions apply.
Make a toast to your future. The JTA Cooperative Credit Union is by your side. All educators, the best is what you deserve.
We'll keep your dreams alive.
Competitive loans to help you grow.
We'll take you higher.
Great returns on your savings. A bright future is in the making.
Build the best you with the best credit union. We are committed to serving you.
The JTA Cooperative Credit Union, serving our members, impacting lives positively.
Don't fall victim to deepfakes.
Watch out.
Protect yourself.
What is the
For
on
more
TV?
information, visit broadcastingcommission.org or
Here ya,
scan
baby.
the QR code on screen.
Deepfake. No deepfake can't catch me.
Junior, you know say AI can make something will look and sound just like you? One day Junior get a voice note from her granny. Say the food done, the medication done, and she need money urgently.
Need money urgently. But Miss Pat no like ask people for things.
And as so comes, Judy get suspicious.
So what she do?
She asks the neighbor to go check pan her. Junior, the lady quite alright over there make her Sunday dinner.
So the voice note a deepfake.
Yes, my love. Come, your food ready.
Right now it look like we have to outsmart the AI. But wait, I really want dege dumpling here, give me.
Me I wonder if AI can make one deep fake dumpling for you.
To learn more about deepfakes, visit www.broadcastingcommission.org.
Cover Story is brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
Multi-link, access every time, everywhere I go. Multi-link, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use Multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the Multilink logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my Multilink?
Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide at 5. It's time for the cover story. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis.
Good afternoon, Sanjay.
Good afternoon, Ricardo. How are you?
I'm doing well, my friend. How are you?
I am wonderful.
Just before we go to what we have planned in the cover story, I just want to commend the police. This story in the 5 o'clock bulletin, an early morning police operation that rescued a teacher who was apparently abducted. And our information is it might have been on the orders of an incarcerated gang leader. The teacher was successfully rescued. 2 of her abductors fatally shot. I think they said 2 escaped. Clearly, this must have been some intelligence-led operation that would have led the police to where she was being held. Yeah, and we're certainly grateful that the teacher, just a day after Teachers' Day, was not harmed. Yeah, so just wanted to start by bigging up the police. More evidence that when they rely on strong intelligence, we get results.
Indeed, Ricardo, I have to endorse that really good work by the police. We have to commend them. But let's move to the cover story. Habemus Papam, the Latin words for we have a pope.
I have to tell you, I love hearing non-Catholics speak Latin. I take some pleasure from hearing that. Everybody's just speaking Latin today. Go ahead.
And that it was announced from the red-draped balcony of St. Peter's Basilica earlier on Thursday. He's Robert Pervemus, and he's an American national from Chicago. He has chosen the name Leo XIV. He is the first to come from America.
Now, Pope Leo will succeed Pope Francis, who died of a stroke and heart failure at his residence in the Vatican last month. Here's more in this report from Dana Davey.
Even before Pope Leo's name was announced from the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica, the crowds below were chanting, "Viva il Papa, long live the Pope." Robert Prevost will be the 267th occupant of the throne of St. Peter. The 69-year-old will be known as Leo XIV. He's the first American to fill the role. However, he's considered a cardinal from Latin America because of the many years he spent as a missionary in Peru before becoming a bishop there. Born in Chicago in 1955 to parents of Spanish and Franco-Italian descent, Prevost served as an altar boy and was ordained as a priest in 1982. Although he moved to Peru in 1985, he returned regularly to the U.S. to serve as a pastor and a prior in his home city. He has Peruvian nationality and is fondly remembered as a figure who worked with marginalized communities and helped build bridges. He spent 10 years as a local parish pastor and as a teacher at a seminary in Trujillo in northwestern Peru. In his first words as Pope, Leo XIV spoke fondly of his predecessor, Francis. He said, quote, "We still hear in our ears the weak but always courageous voice of Pope Francis who blessed us. United and hand in hand with God, let us advance together." End quote. He also spoke of his role in the Augustinian order. He was 30 when he moved to Peru as part of an Augustinian mission. Francis made him Bishop of Chiclayo in Peru a year after becoming Pope. He is well known to cardinals because of his high-profile role as prefect of the dicastery for bishops. It has the task of selecting and supervising bishops. He became Archbishop in January 2023. Within a few months, Francis made him a cardinal. Prevost will be seen as a figure who favored the continuity of Francis's reforms in the Catholic Church. He's believed to have shared Francis's views on migrants, the poor, and the environment. As cardinal, he did not shy away from challenging the views of U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance. He reposted a social media post critical of the Trump administration's deportation of a U.S. resident to El Salvador. He also shared a comment piece written about a TV interview given by Vance to Fox News. Prevost said, quote, "J.D. Vance is wrong. Jesus doesn't ask us to rank our love for others." End quote. Although Pope Leo is an American, his Latin American background also represents continuity after a pope who came from Argentina. The Vatican described him as the second pope from the Americas after Pope Francis, as well as the first Augustinian pope. Pope Leo will now have the task of leading the 1.4 billion member Roman Catholic Church, guiding its direction and setting its priorities. Dana Davey for Nationwide at 5.
Thank you, Dana. Joining us now, leader of the Catholic Church in Jamaica, the Archbishop of Kingston, Kenneth Richards. We also have with us a youth leader from the Archdiocese of Kingston, John Luke Foster. Gentlemen, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for joining us. Archbishop Richards, let me start with you. What does this moment mean for Catholics here in Jamaica?
Well, I think we joined the Church Universal, expressing gratitude that the Lord has heard our prayers and the anxiety is now over, and I'll be able to stop him. We have a Pope, and so we look forward to that which he is going to offer in terms of his leadership and his vision, the vision that he has for his church. Although by the name that he has taken, Leo the 14th, that is a statement and declaration of the pathway he would be charging on. One of his predecessors in the line of Leo is Pope Leo the 13th, who in 1891 formalized the church's social teachings in modern time. And at that time, Pope Leo highlighted the importance that labor must be, and people must be respected, that labor must serve people and not people serving labor. The document at that time challenged unbridled capitalism and socialism, and promoted the dignity of the person. So those are going to be highlights of his ministry, building on those thoughts and teachings from the line of Leo. And also it is building on and themes from Pope Francis's papacy, a highlight of Francis's papacy was the promotion of synodality, which at the core of it meant that we must restore in an intentional way that aspect of being church, and listening to the scriptures, listening to the Holy Spirit, but also listening to each other. And Pope Francis gave particular emphasis with respect to listening to people on the margin, those voices that are often silent, whether because they're shy or because they're not given the opportunity to speak. And so the teaching on synodality highlighted the fact that as baptized Christians, all of us have received this Holy Spirit speak to each of us, and therefore it's important that we articulate what we hear from the Spirit. And this is a way in which we contribute to or we formulate the mission of the church. Listening also involves listening to the signs of the time, listening to what is happening, the issues that are happening around us, so as to formulate the approach is going to deal with and face these issues. Mm-hmm. And so Pope Leo XIV made reference to the legacy of Francis, and which I'm happy for, because I think Pope Francis did great work with respect to charging the church, with respect to the pastoral ministry and the social gospel that must be integral to the way of being church.
Mm-hmm. And Your Grace, there are so many issues in the modern world that occupy the attention of the church. How the church should respond as it relates to human sexuality, matters related to the environment, the treatment of migrants. If you could prioritize three things for the new Pope to focus on as the leader of the Catholic Church, what would those things be? You mentioned the social teaching.
Yes. Well, the faith, the faith is faith in action. And so if you believe in Jesus Christ, believe in God, then you have to, that has to be manifest in our work. And of course, the way in which Jesus Christ highlights it for us. When I was hungry, you gave me food, and I was thirsty, you gave me drink. When I was sick and in prison, you visited me. And so that is so integral to the life of faith. And it's sometimes we want to compartmentalize the way in which the church's ministry should be unfolded, but it has to be inclusive and all-embracing. Is that you don't focus on one area to the neglect of the others. And so morality and ethics is very important, and so these cannot be neglected. And especially in these times, I think that we often decry the church's teaching and direction and guidance that it gives, which is sexual morality. But at the same time, we are alarmed at what happens, the abuse of our children, the early sexual activity of our children. And these are things that we need to start addressing again. The scripture speaks to the fact that the body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. One of our popes, Pope John Paul II, and I love the book that he wrote while he was Cardinal, Love and Responsibility, that highlighted the true meaning of love, the dignity of the person, that the person is of such value that the person should not be used and abused. And if we appreciate that self-understanding, then we must recognize that we must transpose that to our neighbor, that each person is of such value that they must not be used and abused. And that is the core of sexual morality, that the best attitude to have to a person is love, which is respect the dignity of the person. So I do not see the church compartmentalizing, giving particular focus to one thing and neglecting, because then we deal with these social issues in various ways in our life, and especially in our own country, Jamaica.
And what message, Archbishop, do you think Pope Leo's election sends to Catholics in the Caribbean and Latin America? And how do you think it might impact the local church communities?
Well, the message, we don't know yet. It's just, we still need to see what, we get an inkling, but this is just an inkling of the name that he has taken, and his commitment to synodality, his commitment to that we, as you said, peace to all people, that God loves all people. Those are significant messages. But I suppose the consolation that we can hold on to is in the sense that even though he was born in the United States in Chicago, that he's from the global south because of his work. And so the continuity with the fact that Francis came from Argentina and he himself spent a lot of time working in Peru. He'll have the sensibility with respect to the challenges that the global south experiences. And of course, then he is aware of the global north because of where it's from. So I think he'll be able to provide the right mix, and especially by virtue of the fact that he has taken the name Pope Leo XIV, the social teachings from Reverend Navarro, Quadragesio Anno, Centesimus Annius are going to be either building on such encyclicals and the social teachings that will be instrumental, important with respect to advancing society, promoting the value and the dignity of persons, as we seek to allow the kingdom of God to be established through the work of the church and indeed for all humanity.
Archbishop, we know you have to leave us now. Thank you so much for your time. We're up on the break, and then after the break, we'll get the perspective of John Luke Foster, youth leader from the local Catholic Church.
Birdshot fried chicken always ready. Birdshot, original crispy. Birdshot, Cajun spicy. Birdshot, a barbecue. Birdshot, we are going Birdshot.
The temperature brought to you by Bird Shack Fried Chicken in Kingston, Montego Bay, and Ochivios is...
It's 30 degrees Celsius in Kingston and 30 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay.
Answers Mother's Day sale up to 70% off. Up to 70% off the best brands for mom. Answers Gifts at Home, Tropical Plaza, and Answers for Children, Tropical Plaza and Sovereign Center. Answers Mother's Day sale till May 17, 2025.
KFC is back with the crispy barbecue zinger. So delicious, this one is a winner. Spicy with bacon, onions, cheddar, and the smoky barbecue sauce.
The crispy barbecue zinger from KFC is back. A delicious spicy zinger with bacon, cheddar cheese, crispy onions, and smoky barbecue sauce. Available for a limited time. The craving that makes everything crunch. KFC's crispy barbecue zinger. It's finger-licking good.
The crispy barbecue zinger from KFC with the smoky barbecue sauce.
Plug into the sun with Peak Energy Solutions. We are your affordable provider for everything solar. Grid tie or off-grid solar P systems, solar air conditioners, panels, lithium batteries, solar supplies, and installation. Visit us at Shop 1, 3 Mosquito Valley Road, Red Hills, St. Andrew. Call 876-279-8820 or 944-0668. Or email us at peakenergysolutionsja@gmail.com. Peak Energy for everything solar.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. We're getting local reactions to the election of the leader of the Worldwide Catholic Church. His name, Robert Prevost. He's from the United States. He was a bishop in Peru. He now goes by the name Pope Leo XIV. We have with us John Luke Foster, a youth leader from the local Catholic Church. John Luke, from the youth perspective, your reaction to a new pope being elected?
Well, what can I say? It's a phenomenal moment. I think his election inspires a sense of hope, especially in this Jubilee year of hope, and of trust in God's providence.
And you know, John Luke, a lot of time people, you know, I've been looking online and I've watched the reaction of young people to what's happening. And they're sort of like, okay, this is cool. This looks good. I like the pomp. I like the pageantry. And then the question is, why should I care though? And as a youth leader, how do you communicate that to young people as to why this is such an important moment?
Well, as a Catholic in Jamaica, you know, we're very few in number. And this is such a tremendous experience because for 2,000 years, since Jesus left us and ascended into heaven, the church has been there, which is what he promised, that the gates of hell will never prevail against it. And the fact that this Pope has chosen the name Leo, in agreement with what our Archbishop Kenneth was saying, it's a profound statement, because Leo meaning lion, there's a great lion before him. But to make specific reference to the Bible, I think it's in Revelation, where one of the elders says to John in his vision, "Do not weep. Behold, the Lion of Judah has conquered." And for us in this time, especially, during Pope Francis's pontificate, I know personally there are a lot of Catholics who murmured and grumbled. He's not clear enough. He's not this. He's not that. They wanted more. Not to say that he had a bad pontificate, but to really highlight the fact that God is in control in all of this. We have lost a pope almost 3 weeks ago, and we're grieving, but hoping for something, hoping that God would come through. And the entire electoral process, the conclave, in secrecy, in silence, which is how God moves. And we have seen him come through yet again. So I think it's a wonderful moment. It's a reminder that we have a God that we can trust in. He's honest, he's truth itself, and we can't ask for more.
And John Luke, many say the church needs to become more relevant to young people. Do you believe Pope Leo has the qualities to connect with youth globally?
Well, I don't support that statement. I don't think the church needs to become more relevant. The church is relevant. It's just a matter of if the youth can appreciate that fact. We live in a culture, I think a backwards culture, that puts pleasure above all else. But seeing the Pope, I don't know much about him, but I believe that the Holy Spirit will give him the gifts he needs to lead the church, and that includes the young people of the church. So I have no doubt that he will inspire us to go forward and become saints where we are.
And, John Luke, my colleagues here have been asking me about what goes into the name of a pope. Obviously, we've had popes named John Paul, and I was thinking to myself, is it possible that we could see a Pope John Luke in the future?
That is a question only time can answer.
All right. And John Luke, in terms of how the local Catholic Church engages with young people, how do you go about that?
Oh, that's a really good question. Our engagement has changed over the years, because coming from the time that we were in CYM, Catholic Youth Movement, it's been more, we're trying to get with it, as the young people would say. Or they don't say that anymore.
You're dating yourself.
But reaching out on social media has been a big help, I think, because we're given access to the entire world and to the entire deposit of our faith, things that we don't tend to see a lot of expressed in our setting because we're so small here. We have access to people from, Italy, US, Brazil, all over the world, and World Youth Day has been a big part in that process of evangelization, allowing our Jamaican Catholics to experience the fullness of communion with the worldwide church and coming back to spread that word. And I want to say a big thank you to all the pastors and deacons that are involved, and especially to Archbishop Ken, who has made it his point of duty to reach out to the youth and to let us know that he is for us. So it's a dynamic approach, and we have ways to go, but it's great.
But let me just build on that one, because you're right. In a world driven by social media and rapid information, the Pope has to find meaningful way to have that spiritual dialogue with young people. How do you see he go about doing that?
Well, what I've seen on social media, especially Instagram, is he doesn't necessarily do that on his own, but we as Catholics have many skills which we employ to spread his message. So it's been, I think, 5 hours since he's been elected Pope, and I can't tell you how many quotes, pictures, GIFs I've seen on Instagram, flooding social media, flooding WhatsApp statuses. So I think he just needs to boldly defend and proclaim the truth, and we as his children will get that message out there.
Thank you, John Luke. John Luke Foster is a youth leader in the local Catholic Church. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you.
So there are about 50,000 Catholics in Jamaica, Sanjay. The last estimates say it's about 3 or 2% of the population. So not a very big Christian community, but of course very influential in education, in healthcare, in government. I think there's several cabinet ministers actually now who are Roman Catholic.
Yes.
So we wish Pope Leo well. I have to tell you, I didn't see this coming. Wasn't on my bingo card. Didn't see an American at all becoming Pope, but we'll see.
Yep. Although they don't really classify him as American, you know. They mention it, but the focus is more on where he was last before he went to the Vatican.
He's an American.
Of course, not denying that, but
Donald
it's just
Trump.
the way the wording is put forward.
Yeah, Donald Trump is making it clear. Yeah, he's one of us.
Oh yes.
The headlines are next.
Cover Story was brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
6 o'clock.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Mahiri Stewart. The International Monetary Fund is again showering Jamaica with praise for its fiscal progress. This follows its latest Article 4 consultation, which took place between April 30 and May 7. The IMF says over the last decade, Jamaica has successfully reduced its public debt, firmly anchored inflation and inflation expectations, and strengthened its external position. It says the country has built an enviable track record of investing in institutions and prioritizing macroeconomic stability. Opposition leader Mark Golding is arguing that despite the much-touted macroeconomic gains, growth has remained stagnant.
We have, of course, many accomplishments of which we must be proud. Perhaps the biggest one is the sustainability of our public finances. However, we have many challenges that are holding us back. And we have not seen, despite those improvements in the public debt, we have not seen our economy take off. In fact, our economy is relatively stagnant. The rate of growth, which we have seen over the last 10 years, has really been minuscule. We have never even achieved 3% growth in a single year. And in several years, we've had rates of growth less than 1%, and last year we had negative growth.
The Andrew Holness administration has touted its macroeconomic milestones as a main driver in the development of the country. But Mr. Golding says in comparison to our regional counterparts, Jamaica is underperforming.
How is it that we have stronger financial base as a country? We have good reserves. We have managed to bring unemployment down according to the official statistics. Inflation is relatively low and so on. Yet we can't produce growth. And the lack of growth means that the wealth per capita of our people, the wealth, if you share it among our whole population, our wealth is around $7,000 US per year. And this is way less than peers in the Caribbean region. I'm not even looking at Cayman and Bermuda and those countries. Looking at countries like Trinidad, Guyana, Barbados, Antigua, St. Lucia, we are 2, 3, 4 times less well off than they are. And this is unacceptable because our situation is not that different to theirs.
Mark Golding, opposition leader. An early morning police operation on Thursday led to the successful rescue of a teacher and the fatal shooting of 2 of her abductors in Jerusalem Mountain in Grange Hill, Westmoreland. Sources say the teacher was driving her motor car when she was ambushed by 3 armed men who blocked the road with a log, forcing her to stop. She was taken from her vehicle, blindfolded, and transported to a house in Pell River, Hanover. Members of the security forces reportedly launched a coordinated rescue operation. During the operation, a gunfight ensued between police and the alleged abductors. 2 of the suspects were fatally shot in the alleged exchange, and the police say 2 illegal guns were recovered at the scene. Despite the success of the rescue, 2 suspects managed to escape. Both are now the subjects of a police manhunt. Principal of St. Andrew Prep School, Dr. Carol Blanchard, says the school has been given the green light to resume classes on Friday after this morning's bomb threat.
We must also thank St. Andrew High School because part of our plan to make sure that the children were not compromised in any way, we had to use their compound to exit. So there's a gate on our field that we allow the children to exit from. The area was swept, all the classrooms were visited, the bomb squad and everybody did their routine check, and so we are clear to enter the building tomorrow, all being well.
Personnel from the Jamaica Fire Brigade and the Jamaica Constabulary Force were on the scene at the school following the threat. Dr. Blanchard says the school followed the necessary protocol after receiving the threat via email on Thursday morning.
The school got an email and we just had to take the necessary precautions to make sure that we alert the parents, we alert our board, we make sure that the persons who are dealing with bomb threats are made aware, the police, the fire department, and those were called in immediately. In addition to that, our staff knows what the response is to take them to the assembly area. We have a very, very effective communication system, and so those were utilized quickly.
Dr. Carol Blanchard, principal of St. Andrew Prep. Meanwhile, the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, Statin, says it has been informed that the bomb scare is no longer an immediate threat to the premises. Statin, which is located across from the school, had been evacuated following the bomb threat. The Institute says it evacuated its staff members at its head office in response to the security situation. It says after the JCF subsequently indicated that after completing their assessment of St. Andrew Prep, there was no longer an immediate threat to the surrounding premises, including Statin. Authorities are still searching for an ocelot that escaped in Black River, St. Elizabeth on Wednesday. Head of the St. Elizabeth Police, Superintendent Coleridge Minto, confirmed that a joint operation was carried out by the police and the JDF at the wharf and surrounding areas where the animal escaped. Despite the efforts, the medium-sized spotted wild cat remains at large. The incident has raised alarms about the possible rise of the trafficking of exotic animals into Jamaica. Chairman of Jake's Hotel in St. Elizabeth, Jason Henzel, expressed concern over what he described as a troubling development.
We know that this has happened on several occasions. This particular one happens to be what could be a dangerous animal. So there is concern. I have been in touch with the High Command of the police in the parish, and there is active search going on between themselves and the JDF and NEPA. Whenever there's a market for something, the market is going to respond. And what I can't understand in my own mind is why is there such a desire to buy these exotic animals? We really need to try and put an end to the continual smuggling of these animals into the South Coast. I just hope that we have the laws, or are going to amend the laws, that are going to come down extremely hard on things like this, so that the perpetrators will think twice about doing it again.
Jason Henzel, chairman of Jake's Hotel in St. Elizabeth. If the animal is seen, persons should call the JDF at 876-926-8121, NEPA at 876-754-7540, or the JCF at 119. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Sports is next.
Outperform, outlast, with top performance, Jackhammer. Reliable, full stop, not comma. We have the expertise for drilling and demolition. We have the power tools for plumbers and electrician. Pan select tools, 3 parts and 3 repairs. 3 parts, 3 repairs. 2 to 3 years. Hilton, available at Delta Supply, 106 Hagley Park Road. Call us at 876-302-6111-4. Delta Supply, we service what we sell.
Every day, we use our feet to walk, run, and take us to amazing places. But your feet can do something even more amazing. A simple step can change a life. Join Guardian Group's Shine 5K Night Run, formerly the Keep It Alive 5K, and make us try to support the Noel Holmes Hospital, the Bustamante Hospital for Children, and Project STAR. Saturday, May 10 in Kingston and Saturday, May 24 in Montego Bay. New name, but same epic vibe. Register today at run2shineja.com or runningeventsja.com and see you at Shine 2025.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Tivoli Gardens and Montego Bay United just kicked off their first leg quarterfinal of the Rare Nephew Jamaica Premier League encounter at Sabina Park. Just about 2 minutes gone in the game, and it's goalless. It's a second meeting between the teams in 5 days. Tivoli came away 2-1 winners to secure the last playoff spot, and in the process they stopped Mobile United getting one of the 2 automatic semi-final spots. However, Montego Bay United enters with a psychological advantage, having beaten Tivoli in 2 of their 3 meetings so far this season. The second game of the doubleheader at 8:30 will feature champions Cavalier against Portmore United. Cavalier beat Portmore United in 2 of their 3 meetings this season, the other ending in a draw. However, Portmore United, well, they had the league's second best defense. They conceded 25 goals in the regular season, that's 39 games, bettered only by the 21 conceded by Mount Pleasant Academy. Veteran cricket commentator Joseph Reds Pereira believes Cricket West Indies have some questions to answer following the release of the 15-man squad for the 6-match tour of England and Ireland. West Indies will play 3 one-day internationals against Ireland May 21 to 25 and a similar number of games against England May 29 to June 3. Pereira says the most obvious question is the reason behind the omission of former captain Jason Holder.
My first surprise when I read the 15 was the omission of Jason Holder. He may be aging towards the start of the World Cup when it comes around, but is what he would have done for this side in England with his experience and ability and knowing the conditions in the UK like the back of his hand. What was not, in fact, included in the press release was the tradition of respect to the former captain, some indication in the policy saying, look, we have decided to move on from Jason Holder, etc. That was not done, which was a major omission. Yet the team includes 3 all-rounders. Isn't that a bit of an overkill?
And of course, Pereira says he believes that the team could have gone for an extra specialist batsman as well.
You're exposing young Andrew from Antigua, a very promising young man. You could have also reduced the number of all-rounders and included Kevlin Anderson, the very promising Guyanese batsman who had a very good 4-day and made runs in the recent breakout tournament. That was not done. The team also includes 3 wicketkeepers, which seems to be a very large number for a 15-man party.
Pereira is also wondering why a vice captain was not named.
One of the things that Hope would have liked to landed in the UK with his vice captain so they can begin working together with the coaching staff. I think that the decision to change the bowling coach might have been done at the wrong time because this New Zealand bowling coach knows English conditions very well, similar to New Zealand conditions. And I would think that a new bowling coach at this time, all of a sudden the bowlers who've been working previously with the coaching staff is hearing new messages, new advice, new discussions, maybe coming at the wrong time.
Joseph Reds Pereira. The Windward Islands Infernos and the Leeward Islands Thunder will meet in Friday's West Indies Breakout T20 League playoff at the Brian Lara Stadium. The winner of the match will join Trinidad and Tobago Legions in the final on Saturday. Captain of the Infernos, Alec Athanaze, says playing against the Thunder in their final preliminary round match highlighted some of their weaknesses that they intend to take advantage of.
The game we played yesterday gave us a bit of information. A lot of the times you sit down and you plan against oppositions, but not all the time you get to play against them twice. So we got a bit of information, which will be key, to play against them, obviously. So that is good for us.
Alec Athanaze. Meanwhile, Thunder captain Kareem Magor says the game will be like a final before the actual final.
We look at what we did well for the tournament. We haven't had a 50. We had, a few 30s and 40s. So it's just for the batters to go on and get a big score, and take charge of what the bowlers have done very well. At this time now, all we have to do is motivate the guys, give them courage, give them belief in themselves, and, best team takes off.
Kareem Agor, Trinidad and Tobago Legions top the group with 31 points to advance directly to the final. The Pakistan Super League is considering postponing the remainder of its season amid the ongoing tensions between Pakistan and India. The PSL is looking at all options, including halting the tournament for a number of weeks, moving it to a single city or outside of the country altogether. Pakistan says 31 people have been killed and 57 injured by airstrikes in the country, and Pakistan administered Kashmir since Wednesday morning as India responds to a deadly militant attack on Indian tourists in Kashmir last month. Players at the PCL also took part in an emergency meeting held by tournament organizers on Thursday. Thursday's match between Peshawar Zalmi and Karachi Kings, due to be held in Rawalpindi, was postponed after Pakistan's military said Indian drones were destroyed in various Pakistan cities. A Pakistan Cricket Board official said one drone misfired and led to an explosion in the street behind the stadium in Rawalpindi. PSL organizers remain keen for the tournament, which has 8 fixtures outstanding to be completed, but the safety of the players, they say, remain the priority. Former West Indies captain Jason Holder, who plays for Islamabad United, is among a number of high-profile players who signed up for the league. Jamaica's men's senior hockey team will face their sternest test yet when they take on host nation Mexico in the final preliminary match of the CSE Games qualifiers on Friday. Technical Director of the Jamaica Hockey Federation, Dr. Michelle Holt, says with Mexico holding a higher regional ranking and enjoying home advantage, the Jamaicans are preparing for a high-intensity clash that may determine tournament seedings and progression.
These guys are eager, determined to get finals. The last 2 qualifiers, Jamaica has won them, and they want a medal in this. To get that medal, they have to beat Mexico. So they're really motivated to play their best.
Dr. Holt says the focus is now on enhancing execution under pressure.
We're saying you have to adjust, you have to tighten up the turnovers, we have to convert our penalty corners, we have to be good in defense and make that good transition from defense into our forwards have to work real hard. But it's all coming together and we really look forward to the challenge and we're looking forward to beating Mexico in Mexico, getting to the finals and securing that spot for the for CSE Games next year.
Dr. Michelle Holt. Defending champion Igor Swiatek cruised through to the Italian Open third round with a crushing straight sets win over the Italian wild card Elisabetta Corriaretto. Swiatek won 28 of 35 service points and did not face a break point as she wrapped up a 6-6-1 victory in just 52 minutes. The Pole world's number 2 is seeking a 4th title in 5 years in Rome, with 18 of her past 19 matches at the tournament being straight sets wins, the exception being when she retired from her 2023 quarterfinal with Elena Rybakina. Swiatek will play Danielle Collins in the last 32 after the American beat Elena Gabriela Rus of Romania at 3-3. The New York Knicks produced another stunning comeback to win the second game of the NBA Conference Playoff semifinal against the Boston Celtics. Jalen Brunson made two free throws with 12.7 seconds remaining to give New York a 91-90 lead before Mikal Bridges knocked the ball away to deny Boston a last gasp chance. Josh Hart had a game-high 23 points to New York, who trailed by 20 points in the third quarter and by 16 in the fourth. in Boston. The Knicks lead the reigning NBA champions 2-0 in the best-of-7 series after finishing 10 wins behind their opponents in the regular season. Bronson, who finished with 17 points and the game-high 7 assists, says he just blocked everything out.
Just playing through the final whistle. Can't really explain it, but we just got to give each other confidence when we go through stretches like that and just keep fighting, keep believing. It's a focus that I need to have at that moment. Can't really worry about what happened previously in the game. It's all about just focusing, having a clear mind, and just trying to win the game. That's just my mindset, and I wouldn't be that way without my teammates.
Jalen Brunson. Meanwhile, the Oklahoma City Thunder leveled their semifinal, that's over in the West, with a 149-106 home blowout against the Denver Nuggets. After losing on a three-pointer in the closing seconds of Game 1, Oklahoma City scored 45 points in the first quarter, and they tied the NBA playoff record for the most points in a half with 87. MVP favorite Shai Gilgeous-Alexander led the game with 34 points before watching the fourth quarter from the bench through injuries. And finally, in sports at this time, the Raytown Raptors and Upper Room Eagles are just about tipping off in the first game of a doubleheader in the National Basketball League at the Stadium Courts. The Eagles sit top Zone B with 6 points after 3 starts, while the Raptors on 3 points are second in the group. However, they have played a game less. And the coach of the Eagles team, Simon Brown, says he's familiar with his opponent's style of play.
We faced them in the first round and we were victorious, but it wasn't an easy win. We actually had to fight very hard in that game. They have a lot of young players that are not only talented but energetic. We have young players as well, but I'm always aware of those teams that can run well.
Brown says a strong defense will be key to victory.
I'm expecting them not only to fight tooth and nail, I'm expecting them to come with a game plan to move the ball a lot. So I'm really looking at upping our defensive intensity, and, for us to reduce our turnovers and get more rebounds.
Simon Brown. Meanwhile, St. George's Slayers, who sit second in Zone A with 3 points, take on fourth place Portmore Flames with 2 points in the second game. Coach of the Slayers, Rohan Robinson, admits they'll be going in as favourites. However, he's warning his players against being complacent.
We won the mid-season title, and as I told them, there's a target on our back. And especially that team feels as if they have the legitimate chances now because we have lost our leading scorer, rebounder, shot blocker, and so forth, Dante Millis, to a basketball scholarship in the States. So we are somewhat undermanned, but others have been stepping up.
That's Rohan Robinson. That's sports. It's still goalless in that game between Tivoli and Montego Bay United at Sabina Park, yeah?
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:20.
KFC is back with the crispy barbecue zinger. So delicious, this one is a winner. Spicy with bacon, onions, cheddar, and the smoky barbecue sauce.
The crispy barbecue zinger from KFC is back. A delicious spicy zinger with bacon, cheddar cheese, crispy onions, and smoky barbecue sauce. Available for a limited time. The craving that makes everything crunch. KFC's crispy barbecue zinger. It's finger-licking good.
The crispy barbecue zinger from KFC with the smoky barbecue sauce.
Every day, we use our feet to walk, run, and take us to amazing places. But your feet can do something even more amazing. A simple step can change a life. Join Guardian Group's Shine 5K Night Run, formerly the Keep It Alive 5K, and make us try to support the Noel Holmes Hospital, the Bustamante Hospital for Children, and Project STAR. Saturday, May 10 in Kingston and Saturday, May 24 in Montego Bay. New name, but same epic vibe. Register today at run2shineja.com or runningeventsja.com and see you at Shine 2025.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Alan Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we're all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads Podcast. It's a revolution in media.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Special good evening to our YouTubers. We invite you to also weigh in live in the comment section on today's Public Opinion. If you're just listening to me read 6 o'clock news, you'd know that there's still a wild animal on the loose in Black River, St. Elizabeth. Well, it escaped in Black River, St. Elizabeth. I can't say for sure it's still there, but authorities are searching for an ocelot that escaped in Black River, St. Elizabeth on Wednesday. This follows an attempted smuggling operation intercepted off Jamaica's south coast. The head of the St. Elizabeth Police, Superintendent Coleridge Minto, confirmed that a joint operation was carried out by the police and the Jamaica Defense Force, JDF, at the wharf and surrounding areas where the animal had escaped. Despite the effort, though, the cat remains at large. And due to this, we've decided that today's Public Opinion would be to see what your reaction is to this matter. What's your reaction to the ocelot that's on the loose in Black River, St. Elizabeth? So let's take a look at some of the answers we're going to get today, because I'm quite interested to see how this one goes. Because there could be any answer to this, to be honest with you. I'm quite interested to see what you guys think. So let's go over to Instagram. Ross Clooney Lorraine says, no doubt in my mind this is not the first time that this is happening. Them just a get catch. A prison sentence must be the punishment. Paul Best Deal Jones says, what exactly was the plan in bringing these animals here? Also, was Jamaica a transshipment point? Also, whoever bought these animals here obviously has a lot of money. So that's what we have over on Instagram. But what about Facebook? There is a wild ocelot on the loose in St. Elizabeth. And it's very interesting. It's always something, you know? It's always something random happening in this country. But this one probably takes the cake, man. I won't lie to you. Cheryl Griffith says people better watch their animals because when it gets hungry, anything is possible. Daphne McReith says the people who took it here, let them tell the authorities why they took it here and let them go look for it. But, yeah. Vivian Hanchard says this cat is a very cunning predator. If it's not captured, chicken farmers, beware. Philip Jackson says, well, we first must establish how and why it got here in the first place and treat it from the root. Could we have more situations like this that was not dictated? Very dangerous. Donovan Smith says, connect the dots and find out who's behind the illegal smuggling of protected endangered wild animals. Mark Ranger says, kiss me teeth. Politics time now, NNN, a once every 5 years. This will go on. That doesn't mean it's not power-up worthy, Mark. We can talk about politics whenever. We talk about politics every day. Let's change the subject, yeah? Natalie Winter says, in Jamaica, anything is anything. What's this? Ricardo Portia says it's one of the most dangerous cats in the world. All right. Let's take a look at what they're saying over on X, and then we check the YouTubers, and then we skedaddle. An ocelot, folks. An ocelot is on the loose in St. Elizabeth. What is your reaction? All right, let's see. Afghanistan Rasta says, a long time want a pretty puss we can catch rats. Well, if you find it, maybe it can, man. All right, what else we have here? Saint876 says, I think perhaps it wouldn't occur like that if there were other activities in the area. Okay. But what say the YouTubers? What is your reaction to the fact that there is a wild ocelot running around in the bushes of St. Elizabeth as we speak? That's assuming it's even still in St. Elizabeth. Let's not jump to conclusions and make assumptions here, yeah? Can you imagine this tiger? It's not a tiger, Bill. It's not a tiger at all. It's an ocelot. An ocelot is not a tiger. Whoever brought it in should be charged, says Marva Thomas. What else do we have here? So I was saying yesterday on my Instagram that it's probably laying waste to a poor St. Elizabeth farmer's fowl coop as we speak. But what's important, and I did say this during the news, I'm going to say it again before we leave, but there are authorities that you're supposed to call if you find this thing, yeah? So if you're listening and you look outside and by chance the ocelot is out there in your backyard doing whatever, you need to call the JDF, you need to call NEPA, or you need to call the police. And you can call these numbers at, let's take a look. You can call the JDF at 876-926-8121. You can call NEPA at 876-754-7540. Or the JCF at 119. Don't try to pet this thing. Don't feed it. Don't try and bring it in your house and make it one of your own. It's a wild animal and it could mess you up. It could. Yeah, I'm not saying it will. But, yeah. Carlene Smith is asking me, I only hear of the animal. What about the persons who smuggled it? What happened to them, Mahiri? Well, the authorities know, and I'm sure they'll inform us when the time comes. But until then, our worry needs to be directed towards the fact that there's a wild ocelot on the loose. How many pounds is this animal weighing? I'm not sure, Bell Ringer. Not sure at all. George Lynn Grant says, I'm living in St. Elizabeth. I'm wondering if it will make its way to my area, which is afar off. Well, it depends. Are you close to Black River? Because I believe that's where it's expected to be, or around that vicinity. All right. Ocelots are known for their beautiful spotted fur and their ability to blend in with their surroundings. Now, I'll tell you what, folks. Upon realizing it was an ocelot, we did look up how they look. And ocelots are quite pretty, man. Very beautiful animal. They probably look better than tigers. Remember, the original kerfuffle was that some people thought it was a tiger cub on the loose. And obviously, that would make people a bit scared. But it's an ocelot, which is also a wild animal, but probably not as dangerous as somebody would expect a tiger to be. But, what's this? Do we miss the part where it says it's a cub? That's true. It is a cub, Karenrism. It is a cub, so chances are it's probably not going to tear a human to shreds, but y'all chicken farmers out there should probably be very, be very afraid, yeah? I'm afraid this animal mates with our cats and forms hybrids. Can that even happen? Are they compatible like that? Is that a thing? I don't think that's the least of my worries, man. I can't lie to you. That's why y'all even think of stuff like this, man? That's your worry? You go mate with a regular cat and turn it into what, man? And birth what? An ocelot? A cat-celot? I don't know, man. I don't think that would work. I don't know. Oh, jeez. Serious thing. As little as is... What's this? Serious thing. As little is known about the nature of this wild animal. I mean, we could always just Google it. Let's Google it together if we have time. Ocelot. Let's do our little research. It's so beautiful, man. It's a nice little animal. Native to southwestern U.S., Mexico, Central America, South America, Caribbean islands of Trinidad as well. So there you have it, man. And I'm looking at it right now. Very nice little animal. But it's like a regular cat with like leopard spots on it. That's the best way I can describe it for you. If you're on YouTube, chances are you can like look it up for yourself. But yeah, man, shout out Austin. There we go. Look at that. That guy look fierce, doesn't he? Telling you, man. He laying waste to somebody foul coop right now. I hate to say it. But that's your ocelot right there, man. It's right beside me now. Right here. That's the ocelot. And someone's in here saying it's similar size to a bobcat, twice the size of a regular cat. What's the ocelot choice of food? Let's look. Let's find out. What's their prey? Ocelot prey. Let's have a look-sees. Ocelot prey. What do they eat? They like small rodents like mice, rats, and rabbits. They also eat a variety of other animals such as birds, snakes, lizards, fish, even baby peccaries and young deer. They hunt on the ground and in the trees, and they may be found actively searching for prey or waiting for it to appear. You know, another thing I'm thinking, I hope Jamaica's climate isn't something it's not used to. I hope it's not like sweating somewhere, hyperventilating, wondering why they're in such a hot country. I hope it lives. You know, I really do hope it's found safe, you know. I don't know what we're going to do with it when we find it. I think they found a bunch of other animals on the same shipment as this one, and this is the only one that ran away. But, interested to see. So yeah, there you have it, Kirk. That's what the ocelot's prey is. Mice and all of them smaller things. What's this? They may mate with local cats if the chromosomes are similar. That's a very big if. I can't lie to you, Patrick. It's a very big if. Looks dangerous. It looks fierce to me, man. Of course they climb trees, Strong Link. Look at it. You telling me that thing can't climb a tree? Of course, man. What kind of question is that, bro? Don't worry, Strong Link. Of course it can climb trees. I just explained to you that they hunt in the trees and on ground, man. If a lion can climb a tree, I'm pretty sure a smaller ocelot can. Don't worry, man. What else we have here? Yeah, so there we go. Ricardo Portia's putting y'all on game. He's teaching you about what they eat. I hope and pray that they will find it. Me too, Paul Peart. I don't want it to be found dead. I hope nobody runs it over. But yeah, man, that's Pub Up today. Hope we find the ocelot, and when we find it, we can name it something. I don't know what, but I hope he sticks around, man. I hope he's found safe. But yeah, man, that's Pub Up today. Thank you as always for tuning in. But now it's time for the business report.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, industrial automation and control solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:34. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Mahiri Stewart. The US has agreed to reduce import taxes on a set number of British cars and allow some steel and aluminium into the country tariff-free as part of a new agreement between the US and the UK. The announcement offers relief for key UK industries from some of the new tariffs announced by President Donald Trump since entering office in January. But it will leave a 10% duty in place on most goods from the UK. Though hailed by leaders in the two countries as significant, analysts said it did not appear to meaningfully alter the terms of trade between the countries as they stood before the changes introduced by Trump this year. Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates announced Thursday an accelerated time frame for giving away his fortune as he touted artificial intelligence as a game changer to boost public health and save lives globally. Under a new timetable, the Gates Foundation will spend more than $200 billion over the next 20 years, shutting down in 2045. The organization had originally planned to close 20 years after Gates' death. The announcement came as Gates took aim at another billionaire tech titan, Elon Musk. And finally, in the currency markets, at the close of trading today, it cost 159 Jamaican dollars and 87 cents to buy $1 US. It cost 212 Jamaican dollars and 22 cents to buy £1 British pound, and 117 Jamaican dollars and 9 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the business report. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Good evening.
Suzuki, I give you deals on deals. So here's the deal. Purchase a Suzuki XL7 Jimny 5-door Bronx or Grand Vitara from as low as $4.89 million and enjoy huge savings of up to $500,000 off on select models. Plus 5 years warranty, free vehicle tracking, and 2 years free scheduled servicing. No, that's a deal. Offer valid at Stewart's Automotive Group, Southgate Road, Kingston, and Iron Trauma Bay. Stop by for a test drive. Follow Suzuki Jamaica for more details. Conditions apply. Suzuki, I give you deals on deals.
Every day, we use our feet to walk, run, and take us to amazing places. But your feet can do something even more amazing. A simple step can change a life. Join Guardian Group's Shine 5K Night Run, formerly the Keep It Alive 5K, and make us try to support the Noel Holmes Hospital, the Bustamante Hospital for Children, and Project Star. Saturday, May 10 in Kingston and Saturday, May 24 in Montego Bay. New name, but same epic vibe. Register today at run2shineja.com or runningeventsja.com and see you at Shine 2025.
Make a toast to your future. The JTA Cooperative Credit Union is by your side. All educators, the best is what you deserve. We'll keep your dreams alive. Competitive loans to help you grow. We'll take you higher. Great returns on your savings. Yeah. A bright future is in the making. Build the best you with the best credit union. We are committed to serving you. The JTA Cooperative Credit Union, serving our members, impacting lives positively.
Welcome back to Nationwide at 5. We are inside the nation's business, and for the nation's business, we're looking on getting an update on that Chinese mechanic shop. Now, the Wholehearted Car Service Company in Ferry Pen, that's St. Catherine, was recently ordered to suspend operations until the immigration status of its Chinese employees has been verified. The directive was issued by the Work Permit Department of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. It followed a Nationwide News exclusive, which revealed that the 10 Chinese mechanics at the company do not have valid work permits. Speaking on Nationwide at 5 recently, Labor Minister Pernell Charles Jr. said a team of investigators from its Work Permit Department engaged the Chinese mechanics in an aim to confirm their work status. Until that process is concluded, they are to desist from offering any mechanical services. Preliminary reports from the unit suggest that only 2 of the 10 mechanics working at the company may be in possession of a valid work permit. Our sources say the man who claims he is the manager of the facility, and that's Ming Jing Chen, does indeed have authorization to work on the island. However, we understand that his permit is for work at a haberdashery in Mandeville, Manchester. Minister Charles now joins us to give an update. Good evening, Minister.
Good evening to you and to all of your listeners.
Thank you as always. Minister, what's the latest with the investigation?
So the investigation continues. Of course, you know that we had our work permit as well as our occupational safety and health unit. They attended the facility, made observations, did interviews, and so far the findings which we have told to the country reveal that there were operations that appear to have been without the relevant documentation. Now, our goal is to make sure that the foreign nationals who operate in the country are operating in adherence to the law. And I say foreign nationals because the Ministry of Labor and Social Security is not the body that would be, for instance, investigating or shutting down a garage operation that's operated by a Jamaican at their home. That ought not to be operated there. That's not our purview. We are the ministry that treats with labor and the introduction of labor into the Jamaican labor market, which means we assess and we monitor all foreign nationals that are seeking to come into Jamaica to do work. And we actually have no difficulty, and I have to make it clear because I think that many persons listening have a black and white in their mind and it is not as distinct as that. We welcome foreign talent, particularly where that talent can be transferred to Jamaicans, and particularly where it is clear, evident that we have a gap or a shortage of that talent. We just need to make sure that we have those persons here who are bringing their talent to Jamaica, that they are following the laws of our country, just as we follow the laws of other countries when we go. Many Jamaicans are migratory. When we go to the U.S., we too have to follow their laws.
We're going to go further into that, but I want to go back to the investigation. Now, the initial reports suggested that only 2 of the 10 mechanics may have valid work permits. Has there been any update or change to that figure since the investigation began?
So my understanding is that there were 2 of the 10 who had valid work permits related to haberdashery, but they were not related to the type of operation that we were observing, to be clear. I am advised that since then, work permit applications have been made for the foreign nationals associated with Wholehearted Car Service Limited, and we are in the process of doing the necessary verifications and due diligence as the work permit unit does on a daily basis.
In a case like this, though, Minister, where individuals, in a sense, would be in the country working illegally, what's the process? Because it suggests to me that they can still apply, but wouldn't it be the natural train that they are sent back to their country, considering that they are working illegally?
That is one of the routes, but it is not the only. It really depends on the circumstances, and as you know, all cases are assessed based on their individual issues, challenges, and circumstances. And in this case, the investigation revealed certain things that have led both the Ministry of Labour and Social Security and the Ministry of National Security to I would say, not draw assumptions, but for us to provide an environment where we are facilitating while we are also carrying through the investigation. There are several Jamaicans that have written, called, beckoned, and it's also clear that this is not just a case where we are talking about foreign nationals coming in. This is a case where there is clearly an issue in the labor market, a gap that is being filled, which causes us to look at not just numbers, but quality of service, affordability of service, reliability of service, integrity, trust. And so we consider all of those things when we are making decisions. And as I've said at the get-go, we will make sure that we enforce the law. We will also make sure that we provide an environment where the Jamaican people win. And Jamaicans win when they have access to services that are competitive and that drive competitiveness and that create the kind of resilience in our labor market that we need for Jamaicans to be able to get access to services at, again, affordable, reliable, and competent prices.
Yeah, and individuals looking on, Minister, they will ask the question, why is it that we're issuing work permits to individuals working in a convenience store when such positions can typically be filled by local workers? So shouldn't work permits be reserved for individuals with specialized skills that are scarce or unavailable in Jamaica?
That's an excellent question. I'm glad you asked it. Let me tell you why. Because, funny, when I became Minister of Labour, I asked the same question. But I think I refused one until I realized that when you're considering the issue of labour shortage, it's not as simple as, does Jamaica have cashiers? Does Jamaica have mechanics? You have to drill down to the details, the intricacies. If you have a Chinese shop owner, for instance, and they are hiring many Jamaican nationals, they may want someone who can have the dual capacity as, for instance, as you said, somebody working in a convenience store, but also who has a bilingual capacity. So they could be a translator between the entrepreneur and the workers. And most times when you analyze some of those work permits, that's the kind of situation that's occurring where you have foreign nationals coming in who are more than just this one position. They are also serving in the capacity of providing support, whether it is through language or other things. Sometimes it is based on a particular type of disability or a particular care that is needed, depending on the situation. But again, what's important and what is exposed from this situation, which I think is very good for the country, is the discussion moving just beyond, do we have a cashier? Do we have a mechanic? Do we have a mechanic that is competent, that wants to work, that will work and provide the service to Jamaicans that is reasonable and at a high standard? And that's a different conversation, which is what we are having now. And again, it doesn't mean that Jamaicans should be shafted. No. Matter of fact, our system is very, very rigid. And it protects Jamaican workers. It protects foreign workers as well, because many of the persons, why we do investigations, is not just to protect Jamaican workers, but to ensure that the workers who are foreign nationals operating are not slaves, are not victims of trafficking in persons, are not in servitude. And so, as I said in my beginning and statement, this is about protecting workers, whether they are Jamaican or foreign nationals, and ensuring that the framework of our labor market and the legislation that holds it up is strong, and that it is adhered to.
Yeah, I question though if the system is really rigid, because as you indicated, and rightly so, if someone is entering the country and their official title would be an interpreter, that's fine, because we understand that there's need for that. But where is the tracking now to ensure that what is put on that paper, those businesses are actually carrying out what they say to the ministry that they will actually do?
You're doing your research. Now, let me tell you what we do. When somebody comes in, many times the employer is required to show that they have done, for instance, advertisements, that they have done interviews locally, that they have tried with local employees and it didn't work out, and to show us exactly how. Sometimes we do site visits. So, for instance, if somebody comes in and says they need 2 nationals from whatever country, we have a ratio that is a customized, customized is not the word, it is a standardized ratio where you have to have X amount of Jamaicans to whatever amount of foreign nationals. And we go in and we do site visits to investigate. We pop up just to make sure that you don't bring in persons on one day and then you fire them the next day. And our inspectors carry out a continuous process. Many times we will also have conditionalities. So there are some companies that we don't cause to be limited by the strict ratio. For instance, where you have a very, very specialized area. For instance, I'm in maritime mechanical engineering. We don't have any of that in Jamaica. So what we do is we may allow 2 or 3 to come in, but then we put a conditionality that says a Jamaican now from CMU, for instance, must be attached to each of these engineers and they must be mentored. And we've seen where over the last year and a half, for instance, there's one company that actually brought in foreign nationals. They were attached to Jamaican students who had just graduated, and 1 year later, the number of foreign nationals is now 50% of what it was before, and the number of Jamaicans has doubled. And so you see where the benefit now of bringing in foreign talent is the transition, that passing of the knowledge and the experience from the foreign national who has the talent to a Jamaican who now has the potential. And so, when you look on work permit, as I said, it's not 1 or 2 dimensional. When I just came to the ministry in 2023, I had the same issue of sort of seeing it as black and white. It's not that simple. We want to welcome talent because the infusion of talent breeds competition, and it also allows for us to raise standards, and it allows for us to pass knowledge and experience to Jamaicans who can then take over and start their own business. We have one youngster who came from Hart. He was trained through those conditionalities, and then he branched off and started his own business. And that's really what we want, to spur the resilience in our labor market.
The balance is also important, though, Minister. But let's take the break. We're up on our time signal, and then we'll come back to continue the discussion with you.
This time signal is sponsored by Janet Global Accreditation, an agency of the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. The time is now.
It's 6:52. Welcome back. We are speaking with Minister Pernell Charles Jr. Just giving us an update on that nationwide exclusive story at that Chinese mechanic shop. And we're now discussing the broader issue of work permit and who and what point the ministry gives work permit. Now, Minister, I'm looking at the balance, which is very important because we want to say to investors that Jamaica is open for business, which is right. But also, we don't want to give Jamaicans the impression that we are, having a flood of foreign nationals coming in while they are seeking that opportunity for jobs. So it goes back again to the tracking system. How robust is that system? When an individual puts on a form that they are importing 10 nationals to do X, Y, or Z, how do you now track that what they say on paper is actually happening in reality?
Could see my face, I'm smiling. You know why I'm smiling? There are some entrepreneurs right now listening to you who are shaking their head because in their view, you may not have a clear understanding of what is taking place on the ground. They are having difficulties identifying employees in Jamaica. As unemployment falls to the record lows, it becomes harder to identify competent, capable persons to do jobs. And so, we are going to have to move to a stage where we're going to be bringing in more persons. And the system that we have is very balanced. Of course, we are doing a lot of changes to it now in terms of the procedures and processes to make it more efficient. But in terms of the system and the framework itself, the primary thing is that it ensures that Jamaican workers are protected through the range of elements like the advertisements that are required, the ratio that is there, the inspectorate, the continuous monitoring, the ensuring that you have to renew, the collaboration with PICA, and other things, just to make sure that if you come in from another country, you're actually doing the job that you say you're going to do, and that is a job that is not going to be done or is not now being done by a Jamaican. And if it is being done by a Jamaican, we don't probably have enough Jamaicans or enough Jamaicans who want to do the job or enough Jamaicans who want to do the job and are doing it at the standard that the employer wants. And I'll give you an example.
Yeah, but yes.
I'll give you an example. I had a work permit that was refused by the committee when first year that I was reviewing them. And it came up to me, and I remember they refused the work permit because it was a plant engineer who they said that this person can be found in Jamaica. Now, luckily for that person, I had served as the Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, and I was acutely aware of the shortage of that specific type of engineer because the companies were writing to me saying that they cannot find anyone. So I was able to do my own investigation, call the committee, speak to the investigators, and come to the decision that no, I'm going to override that refusal and allow the engineer to come in because we just can't find that specific type of engineer in the country, right? And that happens many, many times where we may believe that we have the particular competence. It may even be here, but those persons may not be available. So the fact that we have, persons who are related to a specific occupation in the country does not mean that you can't allow a foreign national to come in and serve in that capacity for a year. It may also be time-bound. So you may have a company that is boosting its operations. And so, yes, you have Jamaicans, but you may need foreign nationals just for a particular period of time. So as I said to you, it's not as one-dimensional as you may think. It's something that you have to really see all of the variables and take things into context. But primary for us is that we, at the Work Permit Unit at the Ministry of Labour, our primary goal is to protect the the interest of Jamaica. So we make sure, again, that we have a rigid set of criteria. We ensure that we have the inspectorate and the monitoring. We are working now through Operation Streamline to speed up the process because there are many complaints about the delays, the inordinate delays in getting a work permit. And so we're speeding it up because the work permit process is critical to advancing commerce, which is critical to advancing growth, which is critical to sustainable development. So we are going to have, as you said, your word is balance. I think we have a balance, and it is evident to me that even in all the efforts for balance, you will have one or two situations where persons fall through the crack. This case of Wholehearted, for instance, is one where persons attempted to fall through the crack. But just the fact that we were able to hear the complaints, receive the observations, and act on it, that in itself is evidence that the system is actually working to identify these situations.
I'm not so sure they fall through the cracks, Minister, because it's very evident that if you have 10 individuals working in an establishment, none have work permits specific to that, there is a problem with the system. And that's just one example that Nationwide broke, but I'm sure there are several other examples. And you hear people talk
about the system. Tell me what you think is the problem with the system.
If you have, for example, individuals putting on a paper that they're interpreters, and one company, for example, will take 10 individuals listed, and what you're seeing on paper is not actually happening. None of those individuals who may have been decided they have come into the country, indicated that they're working at a particular store, they're not working there, they're elsewhere. The tracking system, there's a problem with the tracking system, Minister.
But let me tell you the reality. So those persons, like many others, are trying to circumvent the system. But the system caught up with them. The system identified them. The system has reprimanded. The system has investigated. And the system has facilitated. And this is what the system is to do. The system cannot determine whether somebody is going to have integrity, whether they're going to follow the rule, whether they're going to breach the rule. But what we do is have a system that attends to and responds to and is proactive in all of those cases. So if someone comes to us and wants to apply for a work permit, we have a process. If someone comes to the country and wants to circumvent the work permit and try to work here without the work permit, we have a process. And both of those processes are working in our country. And I think this case is a prime example of the system actually working in our country, where we have identified the situation and we have been able to respond to the situation, and we've been able to balance the fact that there is need for persons to adhere to the law while also listening to our people. Many Jamaicans are waking up at 3 o'clock to go to these services. So we have to listen to them at the same time as we push the legal compliance.
Yes. I want to read two comments that I got from a listener. The first one, Minister, the individual indicated, these individuals have in essence received a tap on the wrist. They have broken the law. They are here working illegally. And what then happens? They apply through the formal process, and then they are regularized. Why is it that these individuals are not sent back to their country? That's from one listener.
The first thing is this. Because the matter is ongoing, I would not want the listener to draw that conclusion as yet, because it may very well arrive at that circumstance. But I do understand what the listener is saying. I can appreciate their concern, and let me alleviate it by saying to you that from the preliminary, and we've held to this, and we've held steadfast to this, we are going to make sure that whatever sanctions, whatever enforcement, that the Ministry of Labour, we play our part. And we do what we have to do in terms of our investigations and passing that information to the JCF for them to take action. Now, that doesn't mean that the individuals will not have an opportunity if they actually do regularize themselves or seek to regularize themselves to operate. All right? It depends on the investigation, depends on the findings of the investigation, rather, and it depends and the circumstances that are put forward to me as minister when they apply.
So as it now stands, these individuals, they have submitted a formal application, but there is no confirmation as to if all or how many will receive valid work permits.
No, there's no confirmation of it. But I can give you, as I said to you, I can give you the indication that the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, we see ourselves as a ministry to make sure that we are protecting the country's labor market. And a big part of that protection means making sure we have a rigid, strong labor market. So yes, we want these mechanics, if you're talking about this specific situation, to comply with the law. But we're going to, as we investigate, we're going to also have to listen to the hundreds of Jamaicans that are shouting at us, saying, listen, Minister, we want service that is affordable. Minister, we're begging you for service that we can be confident in. Minister, we're asking you for service that is reliable. We can't close our ears to those Jamaicans, right? So as we investigate and as we push compliance, we also have to see where we can start to facilitate greater competition, not competition to shaft or to drive Jamaicans into isolation, but competition that's going to drive the Jamaican consumer to have a better service.
Yeah. And before we go, Minister, I promised that I would have read the second comment. This individual says the minister should take a look at the North Coast, at some of our hotels. There are many individuals who have come in. The work permit says they are, for example, interpreters, and they are employed to the company as dancers. That's what one listener just indicated. Just a tip, maybe, for your work permit you need to follow.
You know, let me tell you, if I don't have a lot of time, but let me tell you quickly. Many times, persons stop me, even in the supermarket, church, everywhere, and tell me these things. And I say the same thing all the time. Give me the specifics. We don't even need to know your name. Just give us the information, and we will carry out the investigation and take the necessary action. Again, we don't have control over the heart and mind of an individual and how they choose to carry out their actual decisions, but we do have control over how we respond, and we are ready, and we are, we are competent in responding. So give us the information. Send us an email, ministercharles@mlss.gov.jm. Pass the information to Nationwide. They'll get to me, and I will take action.
Wonderful, Minister. We'll end how we started. Jamaica is open for business. We want to ensure, like every other country, individuals comply.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Minister.
All the best.
All the best. Minister Pernell Charles Jr. We take the break and come back.
Whether you buy it, build it, or improve it, it's time to home it with the National Housing Trust. Join us as we follow the journey of one couple and their friends towards a more secure future for their families. Home It is brought to you by the NHT, the key to your home.
All of this, brother, man. Mark the man. Mark!
Me think that's why me still single, you know. Me couldn't manage with this football drama every Sunday, so.
I heard that.
If it was me I asked him something, him wouldn't hear though.
You a wifey, me a sister, him can't ignore me. Him know want me start spill all the tea when I have on him.
You can't go on top, man. Hey! No, how about that, man?
Look on this picture. Look how they paint these cupboards. All I want to do is like that. But me have to think about the mortgage payments. So me don't really want to spend too much on the fixtures yet. Now this will be our new bed. Hey, Sam.
Hold on there. Oh, no, not even finished get through with NHT, the money part. But you are buy bed? What are you previous?
I'm checking to see what is available and what can fit in my budget. Hold on, you think it's little planning go into buying a house? You think I just jump up and everything fit in place?
Then you tell me from yesterday house you fell in love and that was it.
You're funny like. Listen, girl. Is enough different things we have to compare and consider, before we even start search for a house. We wasn't even in buy house zone for a long time. We did a thing for continue for rent.
So I'm to that.
When we work out how much we would have be paying on rent and how much we would be paying towards our own home, it coming like you just a work for your next man thing.
Me no blame me all the same. That the landlord we wanna have. If I coulda...
Don't go there. Anyhow, next thing we thought of was buying land and take time fix up. But that wouldn't did suit our situation.
Our situation? We had a situation? Oh, you mean me? And me stop you from build house, ma?
I never said that. The point I'm making is everybody have a different situation. So, when you think about to buy house or build house, you have to think about that. So we start look for a house that built already.
So, how you find something so easy?
Easy?
Think you did that what you match.
My girl, house is something you have to plan for, You know how much gas the one Shanice have me a burn out a look place? And she name GPS now, Me a taxi man and she know some place that me never even hear about before.
The most important thing is that we do the work and come up with the right choice for our pocket, our child, our family.
Oh, me don't name Ronica no more. Me name family. Honey.
Yeah, Papa show ya, man.
Yeah, mother with her.
I don't want to lead this, Turn off the TV there for me, please. What, Mama Jenna? Your team lose again.
You go on, man. Wanna buy out the ref. That last goal was so offside, the goal scorer nearly put up his own offside flag.
What a brother wicked, man.
Wanna still now make it to the top of the table. So nobody get too excited. Anyways, me have some good news. Remember when me tell you when me stop contribute to NEC when me leave Mr. Mac company?
Yeah, man. You go register as a self-employed, like me tell you for do?
Yeah, and guess what? Them say like how I was PAYE before, me only have to make contribution for 2 quarters and we can apply for the loan.
What? So hold on. That means you, your wife, and your sister can apply together?
Yeah, when the three we come together, we can get a bigger loan from NHT.
Nice, man, nice. So what you going to do now?
We are going to make a 2-family house, 1 structure, but with separate entrance and everything.
Yeah, man. We have to go back to the days when family work out them housing thing together. Do it sound still have your privacy, but it costs each one less.
You hear that, Ronica?
I do not eavesdrops on peep call.
Build it, buy it, improve it. There are so many ways to home it with NHT. For more information on housing options, visit the NHT website or your nearest NHT office. Yes, you can home it with NHT and get the key to your home.
Ten minutes after 7. After the break, it will be time for your calls. The numbers are 630-937-124, 618-8255.
We are the best at what we do. At Hose Assembly and Supply Limited, we supply hose fittings and tools. We guarantee we can't be beaten when price and quality are combined. You brand us the Hose and Tool Boss because we deliver the most effective industrial solutions. Come in and experience the joy of shopping with Hose Assembly and Supply Limited. Call us 876-923-3936 or visit 173 Hagley Park Road, 2 Charlesworth Crescent or Montego Bay Trade Center. Hose Assembly and Supply Limited. More than just hoses. Now open every Sunday.
KFC is back with the crispy barbecue zinger. So delicious, this one is a winner. Spicy with bacon, onions, cheddar, and the smoky barbecue sauce.
The crispy barbecue zinger from KFC is back. A delicious spicy zinger with bacon, cheddar cheese, crispy onions, and smoky barbecue sauce. Available for a limited time. The craving that makes everything crunch. KFC's crispy barbecue zinger. It's finger-licking good.
The crispy barbecue zinger from KFC with the smoky barbecue sauce.
Multi-link, access every time, everywhere I go. Multi-link, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use
Multilink. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy. Look for the Multilink logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network. Multilink, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my Multilink?
Celebrate mom with the Jamaica Observer's For Moms Mother's Day promotion. Win big for mom with a $50,000 cash prize, appliances, gift certificates, movie passes, and more. Just spend $6,000 or more with your Multilink card. Grab the Daily Observer, complete the entry form, and submit it with your receipt. 4 lucky moms will win. Enter by May 16th and make this Mother's Day unforgettable. See the Jamaica Observer for more details. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming, and Lotteries Act.
Richie, good evening.
Good evening, Master Richie. Ricardo.
How you do?
Mr. Good evening, Mr. Sanjay.
How you doing, Richie?
A good man. That listener who sent you that message a while ago, so why they don't send back home the Chinese, they need to remember that we have Jamaicans all over the globe legal the same way. And we shouldn't really want them to send them back on us. They are searching for survival. We need to have compassion. Okay. Ricardo.
Yes, sir.
Not having a pope was like a father with a child without a father, not you?
Yes.
Eh?
Yes.
Okay. Remember that other day that disagreement with you and the manga man about
Tyrone.
crucifixion?
Yes.
And I joined in. A man called me the next day from Kingston and said you are wrong.
I'm wrong.
Because as the manga man said, Jonah was in the wheelbed for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
I said, don't go there. Let's talk about the crucifixion. I said to him, the Bible said they take Christ out of the cross because the Sabbath was drawing nigh.
Mm-hmm.
And they couldn't burn him on the Sabbath day because the Sabbath day was not a working day.
Mm-hmm.
And when the clock strike 12, the next night,
mm-hmm.
and 1 minute after the next day is another day.
Yeah.
So if it's 1 minute after the Sabbath done,
yeah.
the rise is another day. He couldn't beat me to it. What do you think? eh?
Say you win the debate.
Them, him have to talk long time.
All right, boss.
Anyway,
someone says Tyrone beat up Ricardo, and Ricardo was supposed to come back with some information.
No, that's what I
He's
said.
yet to do so.
I was going to come back with the information. So I was going to arrange to have that.
Ricardo, with him clear.
Oh.
Anyway, what else on your mind, Richie?
Anyway, yes. That's what we're talking about now.
Yes.
Me and keep talking about the economy which is not growing.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to remind him that he was the main advisor of PJ Patterson. And called dollar turn away 250 to 1. And Jamaica, the main reason why the economy is not growing, because of our high bill is too expensive.
Mm.
That is the main reason.
Oh.
He talk about Trinidad and other countries.
Yes.
I want to remind him that Mr. Thiago picked that at 550 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
And when he lost election, it was still 550 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Manning seek economic policies for Mr. Thiago and grow the economy. And the dollar is 650 to 1 in Trinidad and Tobago right now.
Mm.
All these things that almost everything that gone wrong into this country is caused by him. So nobody want to come and complain of politics and go and like well, him original. You know what he do was wrong? This man tells so much lies that he tell the other day and find himself on the wrong side in trouble. He said the government spends so much money and Syntax and they do not give us a report until now. He went and further said have nothing to do with Syntax and make Absca fit suddenly. Have to let people know exactly who he really is. One of the things that I did not know, that he and Peter Bunting gets over 70 million US dollars of Syntax. I didn't know that. You know I'm going with this, brethren? You have been talking about the Prime Minister statutory reduction. I always believe that his statutory reduction was wrong. You know what I want to know for me right now? Can you put it up for me and tell me about this statutory reduction? You can do that for me?
You want us to do what?
Huh?
You want us to what?
If I want what?
You said you want us to do what?
I would love to know exactly about Mark Body statutory deduction.
What do you want to know about?
I always believe that it was false. Mean that it wasn't right.
No.
No, but remember it was made public, So what is it that you want us to do?
No, Richie.
I'm not following
I
that.
want to. Okay. Now is that Haftar said between him and Mark Body.
You said who said that?
Haftar Fisendi.
Uh-huh.
He did not give us straight over 70 million, but he gave us 25 million in one and break it down. And when I calculated, it was over $70 million.
Where did he do that? Where did he do that?
Huh? Where would do that?
Where did Apka say that?
After Mark Warden said.
Yes, I'm saying where did he say that? Where?
On the news.
Okay, I didn't hear that. But all right, Richie.
Well, I heard it.
All right, thanks for the call. Faithful, good evening.
Good evening, Sanjay. Good evening, Ricardo.
Good evening.
Ricardo,
Good evening, Faithful.
In your news item yesterday, pertaining to what the judge of the Court of Appeal said about the case that went to the Privy Council. I think it says 260 over 15 years.
I think she said 65 over 15 years, or 60 over 15 years, yes.
Right, and that less than 5 years, and he was expressed the view that we are I'm not in the group. They are tearing down the court, and they should not tear down the court because we. In his mind, in my mind, that we pass sound judgment. So if the case is, if the thing is true for which they spoke, how credible is it that? By the way, I should add, do you think we give sound judgment in Jamaica?
As in the local court of appeal?
Right.
Yeah, by and large, yeah.
Right. So was she advocating that? Based on the statistics that you gave up about the Privy Council, that we could do we could pass good sound judgment in Jamaica.
Well, I didn't understand her to be advocating for one thing or the other. She was simply saying that, based on how things are, the reality is that our local court here is effectively acting as a final court for most Jamaicans, because most Jamaicans don't get to go to the Privy Council.
Cannot afford.
And she was saying in effect that our judgment is sound also in Jamaica. Was she saying that?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah.
So could a case be made that push come to shove we could have a final appellate court?
Yeah, that's an argument that people have made. We haven't heard it fleshed out. I would want to hear, for example, how we ensure that it is properly funded, maintained, proper courtroom space. It's not an argument I'm opposed to, but yeah, the argument has been made.
In a case, funding have to go far away with court. Mm-hmm. But in terms of the judgment in itself, the law, the judgment.
Yeah, if it's just about the quality of the judgments and the law. Yes, by and large, our courts are sound in their judgments. You have a few that I disagree with, and that's always going to happen. But yeah, by and large, they are definitely sound.
So I count them all in then. There are three illegitimate options on the table that reasonable we can choose from then.
Yeah, right. So there's a CCJ, there's a Privy Council, and there is the option of a final one here. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would vote for our final court.
You'd vote for it to be here?
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
What say you?
As I say, I wouldn't have it's not my first preference, but if the people of Jamaica ultimately choose that, I wouldn't have a great difficulty.
Because it's not the first. It's not the first. I don't know if she said what, but it's not the first I heard from the appeal court that lament the fact that we give sound judgment and we should stop tearing down our court.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning that they are not attributing the credit to the court in Jamaica that she thinks we deserve. They deserve.
Oh, yeah.
Would that not be a fair?
Yeah, she said it before. I think she said it during the cartel, the cartel appeal. She did make some comments that, suggested that she was certainly saying that the local court of appeal doesn't get as much credit as it deserves. Yeah.
And in the same breath, there are many of us in Jamaica then. I don't think that would not me, but some person in Jamaica would not want to consider our own final court because we are more stuck in the past of steadfast and careful court of justice.
I think the difficulty, though, Faithful, is that a lot of the arguments that have been used against the Caribbean Court of Justice could also be used against a local court. Right. So I think that's a difficulty.
Our poll will fast smaller.
Sorry?
Our poll will be fast smaller. I mean, those who have the truth, I think the case will make that everybody in the Caribbean know they want another.
Right. So the arguments about proximity, the arguments about all of those arguments, interference. Yeah, they would ring true for a local court as well, which is why I say it's not my first option, because it doesn't logically follow to me that if for other reasons people are against the CCJ, it would be the same for a local court. But I also think there's an element of nationalism to it in the arguments.
I think so too.
Against the CCJ, and I think the nationalism argument isn't overcome by the current arguments against the CCJ, because there are people who might just say, no, I just want a local Jamaican court. It has nothing to do with proximity. I just don't want outside judges making the decision, which I suppose is an argument, but yeah.
Some of the most learned who are advocating for the CCJ, the case that they are making, as they say, that the pool in Jamaica is not big enough for us to go that way.
Well, yeah. If that is the argument, then if we're gonna have a local court, I suppose you'd have to then widen the cross section of those who could be chosen for that court. Yeah.
But what they're saying that they are not sure we could find so many persons to choose from.
No, I don't think. No, I don't think that follows. I think we have a lot of lawyers. We have a lot of lawyers in Jamaica, and if we're going to have a final apex court here, I don't know, at maximum we're probably going to have, 12, 13 judges? Yeah, and you give them lifetime appointment. You could find 13 judges.
Trust me, I want to agree with, and I think we should see us to consider that option.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, man, I really think
it's an interesting argument. As I say, I do have a great difficulty with it. But my only concern is I would have to hear people argue why not the CCJ, but a local court for all the reasons they have argued against the CCJ. Because I think the same arguments would apply. Proximity, political interference, all of them go to school together, them know the politician, them. All of those arguments would probably even be more pronounced if the court were a final court.
Because you see what is taking place even with our moving away from pretty cones and monarchy and all these things now. Most of the argument is born out of what they call nostalgia, meaning born out of some long time what they call regionalism and all of these things.
Which is why I think the strongest argument, and I think people should just probably admit it, is that a lot of it is a nationalism argument.
Exactly.
People just don't trust regional institutions.
Right.
I think that is perhaps what's fueling it.
And we have seen it, Ricardo. CARICOM has been struggling for years, where there's no level of trust, so to speak, at this place in CARICOM. Yeah.
I think the best way of going forward in CARICOM would be the West Indies cricket team, and I write them down. Hard to find.
I'm not so sure about that.
You know what I also wonder, Faithful?
Right.
Whether if the court were located here, if the CCJ were located in Jamaica, if it was headquartered in Kingston, would Jamaicans still, or some Jamaicans still be opposed to it?
I think, well, there you go. And the other part of the question, who the other part of the Caribbean who would not be saying the same thing that we are saying.
Perhaps. Yes. Well, perhaps. Yeah. Perhaps.
Anyway, thanks for listening.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I've said Sanjay. I support the CCJ. Mm-hmm. I've studied the court.
There's merits to it.
I've looked at its reasonings. I've looked at other people's writings who have studied it closely. I don't see a reason not to adopt it as our final court. And if the arguments are indeed about interference and all of that, then the local final idea is also problematic. But what I know for sure is that the Privy Council is that's not an option for me at all. I think that's an unsuitable way to continue.
One of the biggest arguments put forward initially, Ricardo, was we don't know how it will operate. We don't know if there will be interference. Let's just watch and see. The truth is we have seen the CCJ in action for a number of years. It has proven itself over and over, the merits of the CCJ. So those arguments that individuals would have put forward initially, I think that they have been debunked.
It's true. I remember, for example, people were saying it was going to be a hanging court. It has not turned out to be a hanging court. People had said that it wouldn't have the strength to stand
the
up.
The capacity to move to
regional leaders. It dealt with that Guyana court, that Guyana election matter. And a lot of people say it was because of the CCJ's intervention why it sped up the process of actually resolving the issue. It stood up to political leaders. So I don't know. All the arguments that have been raised against it, I think it has risen to those arguments and defeated those arguments. So the only thing I see left standing now is just a pure argument of nationalism. We just don't want a court with foreign judges. Yeah,
you're right.
Elaine, good evening.
Hi, Ricardo and Sanjay.
Hey, Elaine, how are you?
What you doing, Elaine?
Hi, Sanjay. But I feel about I love you out here, I think I Ricardo when I get all of
Thank you, Elaine.
Ricardo.
Hey.
Raymond Price and Tana was on the program this morning.
Yes, Raymond hosted this morning.
And a gentleman from Portmore came and I asked him, how him man nationwide now, and the PMP they don't give nationwide no hard whatsoever.
Oh yeah, I didn't hear the exchange. What did you say?
Man, and they go to and say Mark Golding go to New York and say some station buyout. And you hear what Raymond Price say?
No, I didn't hear his response. I need to go listen to the show. What did he say?
Some station will get 15 and some station will get 0. And Mr. Portmore, I don't know why Mr. Portmore did stop him, because he don't say it. Some station will get 15 and some will get 0. But Mr. Portmore stopped him too quick.
Yes.
Because I don't know where else he was going. Some station get 15 and some will get 0.
I mean, the obvious truth is that what is happening amounts to victimization. Nationwide has been victimized by the People's National Party. That's a fact. But at the same time, I will obviously defend anybody's right to decide where they spend their money and with who. So we can't force them to advertise on Nationwide.
Well, you just come up playing with it. I think the electoral don't even realize. No time to pick it up, Not time to pick it up. But they don't even realize saying that. Some station get 15 and some will get 0. Yeah. So much that's why Mr. Mark Golding go and say, some the labor right buy out some media.
Oh, so you're saying you understood him to be saying that there was some buyout happening?
No, the Portmore, the man from Portmore say why Mark Golding go to New York and say it.
Oh, and Raymond's response was that some get 15.
Yes, some get 15 and some get 0.
Oh?
Yeah, but Mr. Portmore stopped him too quick.
Oh. I see. I'll have to listen to it. I never.
Yeah, man. I know time to pick it up, All right.
All right, till late.
All right.
Carl, good evening.
Evening, Ricardo. Evening, Sanjay.
How you do, Carl?
I'm giving thanks, man. Things not too bad with me, because when me hear all the Royal Bank say things about my country, no. We couldn't 7 times Peter PJ Patterson was around.
It's the IMF, sir.
The IMF, man. When you listen here. But, Bad mind is a hell of a thing, no, brother. And then it's a bad mind restaurant up here.
Why you say that now?
Yes, man. If you listen to the British citizen this evening from 5 o'clock news, that man come like in bad mind, tell in bad mind against the country we want to lead. Because
wait.
Hold on the little Richard.
All right.
Andre, are you more asking question here?
Oh, you know what? You know what? Deal with me. All right, cool. Go ahead.
Right. Can you imagine? The IMF said those things about a country that you want to lead. Mm-hmm. And before you just give the praises and say, thank the Lord in all what is happening in this chum country and other country, we are still getting those praises. You have to find all kind of negative to say around. All right. I want to remind the British citizen this evening that when all of the rest of the country, them did grow in the 18-year span, Jamaica was saying negative white man under your leadership, PJ Patterson. And deny that. Deny that. I want to step back a little and move to McGregor. McGregor is a politician now, he is not a police. He is a politician now.
That's Steve McGregor.
That's Steve McGregor.
Yes.
McGregor, you must always take a good look in front of the glass. When your party was there, you tell we, must say last night I see that police, I tell you, say them happy that you are there, because then will be better off. Nothing except this. You're not speaking the truth there, so McGregor. And I will put it to you also, McGregor. That's when your party was there. Every time that negotiation come up, McGregor, 3%. And then, take a long time to get it, go up and freeze. And deny that, McGregor. So you're coming to say this now. Police get the best salary other day, them and teacher, out of the JLP government. But before we even run Sanjay, I want to ask the police force in sentence. There's a little issue going in a sentence. I need the commissioner to take a check out what is happening. There's a little incident going over 3 weeks now. And nobody can hear anything further about it. What is happening? And I will only say there was a high-end vehicle. And I will left it there. But McGregor, police is getting the best pay in Jamaica under this administration. And I want to leave you with this, McGregor. As soon as we cut down the debt below the 68%, McGregor, all civil servants are going to see I have a better pay more than what the British citizen get out of there.
Oh?
We are up there.
The Prime Minister told you that he's increasing salaries again?
I am not going to go there with you.
No, but you just say, as...
talking to tonight, Ricardo.
Well, me a fast. You say as soon as.
As soon
Big promise that you know.
Me say, what the book is showing now, right at the moment, just hold on a little bit more.
Oh.
Maybe within 2 months you will hear something, Ricardo. Sanjay, me
we might have to call the finance minister, because here Carl come on the radio promising.
The book is looking very good.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right, Carl.
All right.
All right, Carl. Thank you.
Boy.
Carl seems to be having conversations with the minister, Ricardo.
Sanjay, good evening, Ricardo.
Hello, Mal. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good.
I don't know if I was hearing the minister right a while ago. Is the minister said there's an investigation going on into the Chinese worker?
Yes.
And he said that some of them, I think, have filed to get work permit.
Yes, they have applied for work permits, he says.
All right. This is where I'm having a problem with this, because we are supposed to be, and we must send that message straight to the world that we are a country of law. there should be no permit sent for no application to apply for no work permit until the investigation is completed. Because we should know if there is any violation to the Jamaican laws, and if there is any, we must do what the law requires. We cannot have a law here in Jamaica for Chinese workers, the immigrants, and a law for the Asian immigrants. We cannot have that type of...
I didn't get that. I have to stop you there because I didn't get the impression that it's specific to any race or culture or whatever. What he was in essence saying is that they have a process. So when you have individuals coming in and they may be working illegally, they can still apply and they go through the process. They may be approved or they may not be approved. So in this particular case, what he's saying is they have applied. The minister will the ministry will have to complete the investigation. After it is done, they'll make a determination if they receive work permits or not.
Sanjay, are you hearing me?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm saying because you are explaining to me that they have applied and based on if there is they're supposed to get it. We first must know if they break the law. What is the law? A law I know always say if you get a certain work permit, it is for a certain thing. And if you enter someone's country without a work permit and you're not supposed to work, you violate the law.
And he also indicated that he has to listen to the Jamaican people. And the country also, the country is also about facilitation. So he says, while they may have broken the law, yeah, and there's no excuse for that, they also have to balance it with a need for those individuals being here. And they have to do facilitation, as he indicated. Because I did put that question to him.
Come on now with them foolishness, man. The law can be grey and black and white and purple and green to certain people. And for certain people, we put them on a boat and send them back home. Or we put them in front of court and we find them and send them back home. What are we doing here in Jamaica?
But the truth is, it happens in almost every country, you know. Even in the United States, people may have violated the law, working illegally, and they find ways to regularize themselves. It's not uncommon for it to happen.
In the United States, if they know that you violate your work, you get a visiting visa, and you work, they cancel your visa and send you back home.
And there are many persons who have gone up on a visitor's visa, and they have found ways, and they have overstayed, and they have found ways to regularize themselves.
Don't tell me about finding ways. I'm not talking about finding ways. Let's stick to sending the world a message as to when you come to Jamaica, these are the criteria and the laws you will follow. This is not a banana republic. When you come here, you can violate the laws, and then we find rooms around it to give you some leniency. No, if we go to China have restrictions and laws when we go there, and we have to abide by it. And we are not making no preference for nobody here in Jamaica when them come here and violate the laws. I mean, I want to hear that from no host on the radio. I try to explain to me.
So in a sense, then you're looking at everything as black and white.
I don't want to hear it. I want to hear about the laws and how we follow the laws.
Omalo is saying the law is in. Omalo is saying the law is indeed a shackle.
Yes. And if it is so, change it. Then send the politicians to Parliament and tell them to change it. But don't change the law to please people.
Hear you, Omalo.
Thank you.
Anthony, good evening.
Good evening, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I am giving thanks. I was watching the news early on since evening, and I was watching Mr. Golden. Where Mr. Golden is from? He normally live in Jamaica?
Mr. Mark Golden?
Yes, sir.
Yes, as far as I know, he has lived in Jamaica. I think he left to go to university overseas, but yes, I think he went to Mona Prep, Campion College. Yes, he lived in Jamaica.
Well, the reason why I say that, what's the growth was like when Mr. Omar Davis and the finance minister in the PMP was there. What was the growth?
Same stagnant growth. Sometimes they have this misnomer of negative growth. I don't know. Yeah, but no growth.
Because the reason why I'm saying that, because he was talking a while ago, like say, well, in the 18 years, I mean, the country was just growing and growing and growing and growing. And you wonder if this man is working right, because he cannot admit to say, well, Jamaica always have low growth, and in a dear time, there was nothing. And I think he needs to come to himself with it.
Yeah, I think there's a way in which, Anthony, I've heard, sometimes I hear spokesmen for the opposition speak, and I do ask myself sometimes whether, these problems started 9 years ago or even 10 years ago or even 15 years ago. They do sometimes speak about our problems as if they are creations of this administration. And I agree with you, it is sometimes a very odd thing to hear. But I suppose they will say they have new ideas now.
And I was watching to Dr. Dawes, who was talking not too long, and he's the same thing we was talking about in the hospital, and we're going to do checking.
Well, it's particularly strange here from Dr. Dawes, because when the prior administration was in office, he was one of the persons who was most vocal. Yes, that's what he alleged, yes.
So, these people need to come to themselves. And you know what happened? If they don't really acknowledge to say that in our time it was really rough and it was basically, now it's a little better. And, at that time we used to have some really low time. They will not reach anywhere. Because if you cannot admit that you're wrong and you do something wrong and you want to move on to something new and to say, well, okay, yes, I want to do something better this trip. You're not going to reach anywhere. Because when you cannot admit you're wrong, or you expect to go forward. And it is really alarming when you hear sometimes them talk. Sometimes when I listen to Mr. Campbell, it's the same thing. And he was a minister before. He was once the head of the doctor union or whatever they call it. And he used to have problems.
I don't think Dayton was ever a minister. I think he was the president of the JMDA, was it? Yes.
Right. No, I'm talking about he was was in the MP. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, yes, a member of parliament. Yes.
Right. So these people need to admit that, yes, our time, it was rough. When all around the world was growing, Jamaica collapsed. Under Mr. Davis. And up to now, he don't come and said, yes, I make some error. I'm sorry. A lot of people commit suicide. And when you cannot admit the wrong, how do you expect to move forward? You have to forgive. If you're willing to say, yes, I do something wrong, people will forgive you. But if your head going down like you're an angel, how do you expect people to forgive you? And that's how I see it.
Is a problem sometimes with the politics, the politicians, they don't want to come and apologize because if they do so, in a sense, they're admitting guilt.
Yeah, but
they don't want that to be on their record.
Yeah, but you see, when you said...
And let me make it clear, I'm not justifying the actions, because I agree with you. I'm just saying why sometimes they're unwilling to apologize.
No, but you see, if you sin and you ask God to forgive you, He will forgive you. So ask people to forgive you. Say, yes, I do something wrong, and see if they will give you a second chance. But just don't go in around like say you never do nothing wrong. That is my problem.
Hear you, Anthony. Another Anthony.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you too?
Doing all right. How are you?
Yeah, because that man I just come off of the cat something when they come to contract about.
Oh.
Because definitely I called this station this evening just to find out if when the PMP were in power, see that 18 and a half years, if this country was growing, I feel they're growing none at all. That is what I was calling to find out, but the other Anthony already get everything, because to the way how me hear my goal in attack, it seems as if it seemed as if the country was growing all at 3% or 4% in the 90s, come way up to the 2000s. You know?
Yes.
So me no know. Me no understand them, man. I just cannot understand them people there. And another thing too, the caller before Anthony was asking the question. Well, I don't know if he asked the question or what, but he was talking about work permit in other countries.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Malo.
Yes, because I agree with him 100%, you know. Because if you go to one of those Caribbean islands and they found you and you don't have a work permit in that country, they must ship you out. Them now will no long argument to do, they must ship you right out.
Mm.
So I don't see why when we hold somebody out here without work permit, you know, we just sit down and wait and touching them get it or what. No, just come out.
But on the flip side, you have many Jamaicans who have gone overseas illegally and have found ways to regularize themselves.
Listen,
wouldn't you agree with that?
But
isn't that so?
I agree with that. What you said, 5 years.
Right. So if you agree with that, why is it that Jamaica should be different? And that's a challenge I have sometimes with Jamaicans. So, for example, the Haitians come seeking asylum in the country, and our first thing is to send them back to Haiti. But how many Jamaicans leave Jamaica to seek asylum in other countries? It's just an unbalanced way of looking at things.
That is different when you don't get caught, you know. It is different when you don't get caught.
Huh?
When you get caught.
So hold on. So you're okay. You'd be okay with them breaking the law as long as they don't get caught.
No, because he says something. He says that when Jamaican leave here and go away.
Yes.
And what? Then they stay there and get themselves regularized forever.
Yes.
Right? But what if they not get regularized and then caught them? What if they don't? Eh?
Right. And in cases like that, they are sent back, or they may get caught, get a lawyer, go through the process, and regularize themselves. It's just how it appears. But as the minister indicated, it doesn't necessarily mean that all these Chinese nationals will get a work permit. He says that they're going through the process, they're doing the investigations, they have applied, and we will hear shortly if all or if any receive the work permit.
Well, I am somebody.
That's what he said.
I work along with the Chinese, then, right? And when people that come around to come check up on them, if you see how them run all gone up, please don't hide it. Because I have to go to basically a whole heap of supermarkets, right? Because that's the type of work we do. Monitor the merchandise that's there. And may I tell you, when the people that are coming over to the Chinese, them like Chinese, them place, you want to see the amount of them run down and hide. They must run down and hide because they have no papers. So all of them things that they go on, them are gone. I don't know if the people who they come on to come check, but they regularize and all of them stuff there, if they know that to them they are the store or what. You know, but that's what I see. That's what I saw. You know, I believe if once you hold and you do not regularize, you know, have your papers, pack you up, send you away. Send you away. You know, as for me see,
all right.
because I see any of them are doing. Anyway,
all right.
Nice
Thank you.
Cool.
All right.
All right. You know, Ricardo, Jamaicans sometimes, when the shoe is on the other foot, they look at things differently. And as I've indicated, the Haitian situation, the first thing that people say, or Jamaicans will say, send them back. But yet still, when Jamaicans go to other countries, the United States, for example, the first thing is give them a try, give them a blight, give them a chance. Yeah? Or posture is different.
Alex?
Hi, good night.
Hi, Alex. Good evening.
Good evening, Ricardo.
How are you?
I'm doing all right. I don't normally agree with Omalo, you know, but I agree with him tonight.
You agree?
Because, yes, with the whole Chinese, the working situation, because think about it this way. If it is that we're able to locate one big establishment like that, right? no permit or anything. Can you just imagine how many more there are? Which institution we have in place to check out these things? And I'm personally of the opinion that the only reason why we hear of the Chinese garage shop is because a lot of mechanics did lose them work. So I'm not surprised if one of them same one calling the authorities. What about all the other business places around the country who are ensuring that, these companies are adhering to the standard or registered or whatever permit them supposed to have? Those persons, them should get them permit before them come here. Now Jamaican can't go to China go do that. Them would have upon the other plane coming back. And yes, Jamaicans go to other persons' country, and yes, Jamaicans run off, and yes, Jamaicans work. But when them catch them, what happen? Dip. You understand?
You're taking a hard line. Are you taking a hard line approach to it then? And that's fine. Nothing is wrong. Some people take that hard line approach.
I'm not saying that, they are not needed, because I'm a female and I have issues with mechanics as well, and I want their service.
Yeah.
But they should follow the right channel. I agree with that. Because, as the person said before, it's not a banana republic. It's a whole country. We have to ensure that we are doing the right thing. I don't agree with the minister's sentiments about persons need service and whatever, blah, blah, blah. Because, yes, I'm an individual who, me as a female, nobody not get robbed from mechanic more than females. Me need the service too. You understand?
Yes.
But at the same time, they're supposed to do the right thing. When we are going anywhere, we have to do the right thing. Or even if we do sneak in one back door, we have to stay in the back door there. Which Jamaican can go anywhere. Remember saying, Ricardo, it's not a on the side, it's not a corner shop, it's not a side mechanic, it's a whole
big establishment,
big building. I don't have no permit. What kind of that?
And that was my challenge with the minister and the system, because if individuals can feel so emboldened to be out there like that, it simply means that they know that the system, there are issues with the system, and the chances of them getting caught is very low.
Exactly.
So I agree with you on that.
It's either that or them have them links where them supposed to have it. You know how the system works. You have to troubleshoot some of the process them sometime too, So maybe that's what's happening. Just saying.
All right, Alex. Yeah,
Good
man.
night.
Thanks for the call.
Yeah. I want to clarify something. A Glory Work in the chat is asking me which Jamaicans go to Haiti to look work. I didn't say Jamaicans go to Haiti. I utilized the example of Jamaicans refusing to be tolerant of Haitians trying to seek political asylum here, yet still you have Jamaicans who go to other countries to seek political asylum. I didn't say that Jamaicans go to Haiti to seek work.
Errol, good evening.
Bless up, Ricardo and Sanjay.
How you doing, Errol?
Well, I'm there, But I don't have a problem with the Chinese them same way, because all them skyscraper building will go up in the country. And local contractors now get them job there. One day if them have permit, Sanjay, Ricardo, or they sneak in same way.
There's a lot of questions out there now as to, the people who we're seeing, but I'm sure all don't have a work permit. That's for sure. In any country, you have individuals who are working illegally. But what we want to ensure is that the system is working, and where individuals are to be caught, the system, there are safeguards to ensure that those individuals are caught.
Okay, all right. Next thing now. The INF said the country are do good. Ricardo.
Yes.
The INF said the country are do good. And yes, still Marky G, I said no growth. The country
in our balance. What Mr. Gordon wants again with the country?
No, you never hear him say that, you know, there have been some positives, but him concerned about the growth. Mm-hmm.
Growth.
Right.
Then for the 18 year where them did have it plus 5 with Sister P, where the growth where them did have? Answer me now.
Answer that one.
No, man, you know that there was low growth.
can't give an answer
You
for
know
that
there
one.
was low growth.
No growth.
It's been a perennial problem in Jamaica.
No low employment. The people couldn't get job. Not even job there. Since 2016, young people are getting the most jobs since this government are coming up power. And you know that too. So man going to take yourself and stop talking rubbish, man. Every platform the man go, him and Dayton, Cameron, Peter Bunting and them just create a scene. And them now, since them a put chat in them foot. All this man is surprised when we see all Raymond Price fund this a program, you know. Where them no like, them burn out this a station here. I can't believe when we see him on the station this morning. You get me?
Nationwide bears the PMP no ill will.
I wonder if them should have become power. I know them can't get it in, but if them should have come power, if they would have fight that station here. But we tell them, you know, 3-term load, them can't stop program, so them better take away. Have a good night, my brother.
All right, Terrell.
Oh, gee.
As we've said, Sanjay, there's a standing invitation to members of the PMP to come on Nationwide, discuss the issues. Just expect that we will challenge you as we challenge anybody else. But, I mean, there's no edict that they are barred or banned from our airwaves.
Absolutely.
Dana
Balance
Davy.
is important, you know?
Absolutely. Dana Davy, how you do? Cook some curry chicken beef for me tomorrow. Mm-hmm.
You love curry chicken, you know?
The curry chicken with the coconut milk. Yeah, man. And the carrot and the Irish. Like a shelly white rice. Bring for me tomorrow. For my lunch.
Dana is the only thing you can cook, you know? The only thing Ricardo can cook is curry chicken.
Bring it for me now, Dana. Bring it for me. I'm going to want some more. I mean, your granny, I listen to your granny. I got nothing to bring it for me. Good evening, Grandma. Thank you, Dana. Thank you so much, Andrew. Bugs. Thank you, sir. Colleagues in the newsroom.
Formal.
You know, like the Andrew. like their name. Our colleagues in the newsroom, led by our editor, Cara Powell, our sponsors, contributors, and your valued listeners. Thank you all so much. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis, wishing for you a wonderful evening.
Good evening.
Every day, we use our feet to walk.